the great religious ceremony. Then someone sings Back Home in Indiana, and on it goes. The build-up, the razzmatazz is fantastic. By the time the green light goes, the crowd's well pumped up.
Yeah. Ben, from your point of view, you've not yet raced actually at Indy, but I mean, looking at these pictures, you now live out there. Of course, you're based with Johansson Motorsport. It really, I mean, it's a wonderful sight, that. It must be such a thrill for a driver.
Absolutely. I'm sure they're all getting pretty pumped up about now. They've all been sat on the grid for a bit. And yeah, I can imagine it being a pretty awesome race to do.
The place itself, of course, is hugely impressive. I know you've been there, you know it, you haven't seen everything there, but after all, it is a city virtually. There's so much to it, isn't there?
Yeah, the whole town is based, I mean, it really is the racing town. Wherever you go in the bars and stuff, it's always, there's a part of a car or part of a team been there or something, you know, it's all orientated towards racing, so it's a good place to live.
Fine, very much thank you for that, Christopher and Ben. We will be back with Chris and Ben as the race progresses, but right now let's cross to our colleagues at American TV at Indy 500 and let's see what happens in this year's race.
As we prepare for the start of the 83rd running of this event. Now, here to give those famous words is the chairman of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mrs. Mary Holman George.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
And that collective roar building to a crescendo. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
And Bobby, you have won this race, but now the engines have fired. You're going to call the race today for Robbie. Which is more nerve-wracking?
I can't hear you very well, but I am going to call the race, run the pit today. Yeah.
Bobby, which one makes you more nervous?
A lot easier to do it myself, I promise you. That's all right. I'm used to doing it, so I should be able to.
All right, let's get to Jerry.
Four-time winner A.J. Foyt at Indy Icon, but A.J., you haven't been to victory lane since 1977 with 3 cars entered. Will that change today?
Well, I hope so. I think we got a good shot. You know, it's just hard to have the brakes fall and everything like that. But I got 3 guys that's won race. They know how to win, and we're going to fight them all the way.
Hey, good luck.
Thank you.
Super Tex, super confident.
It would not be an Indy without an Unser, without a Foyt. The link to the past. The 33 engines are roaring, and let's go upstairs now to Bob Jenkins and Tom Sneva.
Thank you, Al. The cars will be pulling away momentarily. Here's the grid. The first row, Ari Luyendyk looking for his 3rd win in his final race. Row 2, teammates Scott Sharp and Mark Dismore. In the 3rd row, last year's series champion Kenny Brack and current points leader Scott Goodyear. The field's fastest rookie, John Hollinsworth, is in row 4. Row 5 contains Jeff Ward, who led nearly a 4th of the 597, finishing 3rd. The race's defending champion occupies the inside of row 6. In the 7th row, 2 second-time starters and a rookie. The 1996 winner Lazier and former series champ Stewart occupy row number 8. In the 9th row, 15-time starter Roberto Guerrero and the race's 3rd rookie. In row 10, the slowest in the field, Belgium, Wim Eijkmans. And in the final row, one of the most experienced with 15 starts, Raoul Boesel. Dr. Jack Miller's car has not yet rolled from the grid here along the main straightaway. All the other cars, the other 32, are moving and in fact going through turn number 2 right now. But Dr. Jack Miller's car cannot get started, it would appear. They will have to get this car, of course, off the racetrack if it does not fire, but they continue the effort to get it started. They put this inertia starter in the rear of the car. They have done this several times now, but so far have been unable to get the car to fire. Meanwhile, there are the other 32 starters and the pace cars as they now approach turn number 3 at the end of the backstretch. And for the 2nd straight year, Gary Gerould has the honor of being in one of the pace cars. Gary, what's it look like?
to come through turn 3 right now. To see this from a driver's perspective, the sheer magnitude of this crowd, absolutely breathtaking. People on their feet, cheering, waving. You can only imagine what it's like. We're at only 65 miles per hour. Jay Leno will kick it up shortly to 95. Then the field will be up to the 220 mile per hour speeds that they are used to. What are those drivers thinking about as they're going to be involved in a whirlwind of fumes and dust and dirt and unstable air, trying to calm their hearts, trying to find a niche as the newest hero in American motorsports. It's an absolute thrill to be with this elite field as we come to the front straightaway and you look down into that tunnel of hundreds of thousands of people. I'm honored. I love it. Let's go racing at the Indy 500 as we wrap up a century of racing here. Let's go, Ari.
Arie Luyendyk has given us permission to talk with him as he gets set for his final 500, Tom Sneva.
Ari, Tom Sneva here. Your thoughts this close to the start of your last 500?
Yeah, Tom, things are looking pretty good for us here today. It's unbelievable. The crowd, the fans is what makes this place what it is today. And if I look at this crowd today, it just gives me goosebumps.
Well, good luck to you, Ari. All the best. Have a great day.
All right, thanks, Tom.
A wave to the crowd. The final time that he starts the 500. Jan Bikus, drivers are important, but so are crew members.
You're right, Bob. And of course, there will be 6 men that will come over the wall today, making the pit stops here on pit road. And it's not just going to be a case of these drivers changing tires and fuel. They're also going to want to change the way the car handles. And let me show you why. At the moment, the track temperature is about 117 degrees. That will go all the way up today to about 128. Now, when it does that, the hotter the track is, the more slick it becomes. So when the cars are in here, you change tires, you put in fuel. You also may change those front wings to give you more grip. Bob?
All right, Jan, well, the car of Dr. Jack Miller still has not started. His car still on the straightaway. They're trying to get it off. Here's Jerry Punch.
Bob, the determining factor on how many times a driver will have to visit pit road are fuel calculations and fuel mileage. And these cars hold 35 gallons of methanol. They average 1.8 to 2 miles per gallon. If you do the math, figuring 2.5 miles per lap, they will pit every 27 or 28 laps, or about 7 times during a 500-mile race. However, if the yellows fall just right, there are a handful of teams like this one here, Tice Carlson, who may be able to stretch the field beyond 31 laps and maybe, just maybe, steal a win at Indy. Let's check in with Jan.
Well, we saw that Dr. Jack Miller could not get underway. It turns out the engine is fine. They have plenty of RPM, plenty of power. It just will not go into gear.
Well, a tough break for Tony Stewart's teammate in this race. Let's take a look at the race analysis. They will go 200 laps, 500 miles. The defending champion is Eddie Cheever, starting back in 16th. He has a new power plant under the car this year. And if all goes green, they will need fuel 24 to 27 laps. How about some of the stories? Well, we've already discussed Ari's final 500. Can Eddie Cheever defend his championship? Tony Stewart, Indy cars here today and stock cars tonight. Greg Ray and Robbie Gordon are Team Menards drivers, and A.J. Foyt has 3 drivers in the field: Billy Boat, Kenny Breck, and Robbie Buell. Now we want to familiarize you with the cars and the ones to keep an eye on perhaps in the early part of the race so that you will be able to identify them. Here is Arie Luyendyk as he is on the pole position. Eddie Cheever starts back in the 16th position. Tony Stewart, of course, will be starting 24th here this afternoon. There is Eddie Cheever. Well, Tom, what are your final thoughts?
For these guys, as important as their qualifying speed and starting position is their comfort level with those on the dance floor in their area. Who's starting beside you, in front, behind, those dancing in your zone. As a driver, you have a mental book on each competitor. Now, these guys are all scratch golfers when we talk about driving skills, but when we talk about controlling emotions at the start of the 500, there might be some double-digit handicaps out there.
And we have another car that has come on to the warm-up lane and will be going into the pits. That is Scott Sharp, and you can see a spray coming out the back of the car. The pace car is off the track. I'm not sure that we will be getting a green here. Perhaps we will, though the field looks pretty good as it comes out of corner number 4. looking for the green here to start the 83rd Indianapolis 500. The green is out, and for the 83rd time, they're racing at Indianapolis. First half of lap without an incident. Now here they are moving into turn number 4. Arie Luyendyk showing the way at the moment, but here comes Greg Ray charging after him as they open up down the front straightaway. But Arie Luyendyk is going to lead the first lap, the first time he has ever led the opening lap at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But look at the challenge that Greg Ray is presenting already.
Well, no question there. It's really hard to start on that inside row, so Arie did a great job. He's ready to go racing.
An interval now between second and third position. Billy Boat running third, followed by Robbie Gordon and Mark Dismore. The first lap was 199.3. Gary, what is the report on Scott Sharp?
Boy, this is one of those things you hate to talk about, a mental error from the crew. They forgot to take the blocks out of the air box. They weren't getting the air into the engine.
A tough break for Scott Sharp.
Well, and it just leads to the pressure and the emotion and the tension that happens to these crews before the start of the race.
Some great racing going on. They're 3 wide down the straightaway here. That's Hideshi Matsuda on the inside of...
Well, that's Sam Schmidt in the white car down underneath there.
And Eddie Cheever also in this battle. There's Schmidt in the white car with the blue front end.
Schmidt is a teammate to Luyendyk, so he was the quickest car on carburation day, so he's real excited about his chances.
Eddie Cheever is right behind him as they once again go down the backstretch and into turn number 3.
Again, Cheever running the Infinity engine this year, Bob. Surprised a lot of people by switching this close to the 500.
One would wonder why you would correct something that carried you to victory the previous year or change something, but that is exactly what Eddie Cheever did during the offseason. There are the lap speeds, and look, Luyendyk is 4 miles an hour faster than second place Greg Ray, who completed the lap at 2:10.241. There are first and second once again, and the interval now about 0.2 of a second as they come off the 4th turn once again to complete another lap. That's Billy Boat running back there in 3rd spot, but so far all Arie Luyendyk here in the 1999 Indianapolis 500.
Well, that's the front row just as they started, so qualifying obviously meant something to these guys.
Last Thursday was proclaimed Arie Luyendyk Day in the city of Indianapolis by the mayor, Steve Goldsmith, and among the many awards that he received during these past 2 weeks is Sagamore of the Wabash, the highest civilian honor that can be handed out in the state of Indiana. And although those are very lofty awards, I'm sure he would trade everything for a victory in his final 500 here this year. How fast is he going? Well, up to 216, now 220 at the end of the straightaway before backing off. You can see the throttle. They do ease off the throttle just a little bit in the corners.
Well, as the race develops, sometimes the traffic will get faster, sometimes it'll be slower, but he was actually out of the throttle farther than I would have expected him to be this early in the race.
There's the interval between first and second. Back to third, Billy Boat. 4th is Mark Dismore. In 5th position is Kenny Breck and Robbie Gordon. Many people thought Robbie Gordon would charge a little bit harder than he has here in the early stages. I thought sure he would be up and perhaps in the lead of the race by the 2nd or 3rd lap, but that has not happened.
Well, he's got a pretty good reminder that this is a long race. I think his foot's probably throbbing, and that's probably a good reminder to use your head, be patient. It's a long day.
There's Davey Hamilton in the bright orange car. Hamilton runs back into 13th position. Bobby Unser just ahead of him. John Hollinsworth, the rookie, behind Hamilton as they complete the 6th lap of the race. That's is 12th, 13th, and 14th. Hamilton has decided it's time to make a move on Unser to the inside at the end of the backstretch. And Hamilton picks up the spot. That puts him up in 12th position.
Well, Davey's been pretty quiet all month, but he's always had a smile on his face. So, and Robbie Unser has been one of the quickest cars in a lot of the practice sessions. So I'm a little bit surprised that Davey's going towards the front and Robbie's just sitting there.
Jan Vikas told us how important it is to get good teamwork and good pit work. The Gallus crew won the Coors Light pit stop competition Thursday here in Indianapolis, indicating that they will be tough to deal with in the pit area.
Well, these teams take a lot of pride in these contests, and it's a big part of the day. We've got trouble.
Eliseo Salazar slides off of corner number 2 and hits the inside wall.
Cars or team members?
That's race control radio we're hearing.
Turn 2, hold up, pace car.
You can see the right rear is still connected to the car, so the energy management system obviously did its job on that particular situation, but that car hit the wall pretty hard.
The new system, the suspension and wheel energy management system, was introduced here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this past week. These tires are attached to the car. There is the crew of Eliseo Salazar. He lost it coming off of corner number 2. It went to the inside and hit the inside retaining wall at a rather hard hit, but the tires and the wheels did stay on the car. Now it's good to see that Salazar is climbing out of the car, apparently okay. He very proudly represents the country of Chile here in the Indianapolis 500. Take a look again at what happened.
Well, again, you see him, he lost traction. The back end came around, hit the outside wall first, but then it shot him right across the racetrack. And again, you can see the right rear tire stays with the vehicle. Again, off the corner, the back end jumps out. He lost the car way back at the apex. It taps the wall, and it really shot the car across the racetrack, Bob. You don't see that often, but he got out of the car. Again, you can see him sideways right here coming out of the corner, and it doesn't look like he hits the outside wall that hard, but it really shot it towards the inside wall.
Hard impact on the right side of the car, but Eliseo Salazar has climbed out and would appear to be okay. We're under caution for the first time here in Indianapolis after 8 laps. Arie Luyendyk leads. Several drivers have taken the opportunity during this caution to come in for a pit stop. We should be getting the race ready to go back to the green. There was also, we understand, an incident in the pit area during this caution.
Well, it looked like we got a crew guy down there, Bob. I'm not sure what happened in there, but we saw wheels flying, and
well, let's take a look here and see if we can determine what happened.
Yeah, 2 cars get together there. That looked like Johnny Unser, and then I'm not sure, I think it might have been Jimmy Kite pulling out of his pit. They touched wheels, and it turned the car sideways.
There is Kite. Let's go to Jan Vikas.
Well, Johnny Unser is also on pit road, and maybe the answer to our question is the fact that he has no brakes. They are in here trying to fix the brakes for Johnny Unser. So since he was involved, obviously if you came onto pit road, you couldn't stop the car. That may have been a contributing factor. They're trying to do what's called bleed the brakes. But at the moment, Johnny Unser is sitting here, and it may be a while.
We have another angle of this incident in the pits. There is Kite pulling out. He makes contact with, I believe, Jared Schrader, and then Kite's car is thrown into some crew members who were working on other vehicles in the area.
Well, that looked like one of Bosel's crewmen is the guy that got toppled, Bob.
So we remain under caution here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the 83rd running of the 500. Back in just a moment. We remain under caution here in Indianapolis due to an incident on the track involving Eliseo Salazar and an incident in the pit area. Well, Saturday, June 5th, live at 4:30 Eastern Time, ABC Sports presents the run for the Triple Crown as Charismatic goes for the Triple Crown at the Belmont. The last Triple Crown winner was affirmed in 1978. Jim McKay shares his favorite Belmont moment with ABC Sports Online at ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Down to Gary Gerald.
We mentioned the problem on the start of the race for Scott Sharp. David Cribbs, you're on the radio with him. Is this one of those unfortunate things where pressure, somebody made a little mistake?
Yeah, it was one of those unfortunate incidences. We had a problem with the radio right on the grid, and one of the radiator entrance panels that we used just to help warm the car up was left in. We thought at the time that it would be okay, but unfortunately now we've gone a lap down because we started in the pit lane. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's a long race, and we're certainly not giving up yet, and it looks like Mark's doing a real good job up at the front there, so hopefully he'll keep those guys in check while we come up through the field.
All right, we'll watch it. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
The third place car of Billy Boat is one of a number of front runners complaining of a push early on. Push meaning the car will not turn in the corner. The reason it's got a push is because they've dialed the back of the car in so tightly, anticipating the sun would be directly on the racetrack. We would have track temperatures well over 125 degrees. That is not the case with partial overcast. The Goodyear engineers tell me the track temperature is 109 right now. But these teams are afraid to adjust it because they think the sun will come back out and it will heat up as the day progresses. Let's check it up pit road with Jan Beekes.
And Jerry, the information down here to the injured crew member is that it was on the number 55 Robbie McGee Energizer car, and it was the crew chief, Steve Freed. We have no update on his condition, but he has been taken away from the ambulance. We will continue to talk with the crew members to try and find out what exactly happened down here. Al, Bob?
The drivers have been given the indication that next time around they will be getting the green flag and the race will resume. There is Robbie McGee. Here are the drivers who have advanced in the first few laps of the race. Jeff Ward up 7 spots from his 14th starting position. The number in parentheses indicates where he started. Eddie Cheever has moved up 7 spots from his 16th place start. And Robbie Buell has advanced the most, 10 positions since the drop of the green flag. Wim Eichmann's up 5, and Raul Boisel, who started 33rd, the final starter, is up now to 25th.
Well, Robbie Buell again got in late into the race, and he got into one of A.J. Foyt's cars, so he's got good equipment, and it's obviously showing so far in this race. You know, Bob, we talk about this first incident in the pits. We talk about the emotion for the drivers at the start of the race, but the tension is there for the crew members as well. And some of the drivers' jobs, I can remember when we were here, you had to take the edge off the drivers or off the crew guys before the race. And many times that involved, you know, finding a good-looking gal on the grandstand, and whatever it took to try to break the tension.
Getting set for the restart. The pace car now beginning to accelerate and separating itself from the field as Ari Leyendijk leads them very slowly into turn number 4. Greg Ray is second, Billy Boat third, in fourth is Mark Dismore, and fifth is Kenny Brack. Robbie Gordon, Jeff Ward, Scott Goodyear, Eddie Cheever, and Hideshi Matsuda complete the top 10 as we are set to go back to racing. Now, when the event started, Tom Sneva, we saw Leyendijk and Ray take off. I don't think we're going to see that kind of a separation this time, as it looks as if everybody's going to stay pretty much together here. Boat right on Greg Ray's heels.
Well, they've had a little feel of their race car. They know what to expect. At the start of the race, you're really not sure. When you pour it down into that first corner, you're not sure if that thing's going to grip or not. But now they've got a little bit of feel for what to expect, and we'll see what happens.
That's Davey Hamilton in the orange-colored car trying to find a place to go. Look to the inside, couldn't make the move, and so drop back behind. That's Scott Goodyear leading that group of cars into turn number 3.
Scott in the yellow and black car led that group into the corner, so Scott's
Jimmy Kite still in the pit area. His is the car that hit the crew member, and we're awaiting word on the condition of Steve Freed from Robbie McGee's team. There's Robbie Gordon. Now, it's going to be difficult to tell that car from Greg Ray's. They are both painted similarly. Look for blue wings on Robbie Gordon's car, the front wings, and Greg Ray has yellow wings.
Right there, that's Robbie Gordon, the blue wings.
Hideshi Matsuda right behind him. The Pace is at 215.131, but again, we are seeing Ari Luyendyk, who is leading this race, going a couple of miles an hour faster than anyone else. There is Tice Carlson in that yellow Pennzoil sponsored machine.
And pace is the key right now. You've got to pace yourself. We've got 500 miles, and you know, you don't do much early, but you've got to be there at the end.
Continuing to run in second position. You know, Greg Ray was the fastest, except 2 days during the practice he didn't get the pole. Ari Luyendyk did, and now Luyendyk is setting the pace here in the early going. Why is he so much faster, it would appear, than everybody else at this point?
Well, first of all, Bob, you don't get paid to run fast in practice. You know, Ari's a seasoned veteran. The guy's only got so many heartbeats in there. You don't want to waste them on a practice day. So Ari got it up when he had to, and that's qualifying day. And obviously, he's very happy with that car.
Riding along with Eddie Cheever, who started in 16th position. By the 4th lap, he had gained 6 spots, and now here on the 17th lap, he is up to 7th place. So Eddie Cheever is trying very hard to become the first 2-time winner of Indy since 1970 and 71 when Al Unser won it.
Well, the real question mark here is, again, the engine switch. We know Eddie knows how to get around the racetrack. Now, reliability, one of the keys to the race, is going to be a big factor for Eddie.
Jeff Ward is running right ahead of him. 2 years ago, Ward drove as a teammate with Cheever and finished 3rd, earning Rookie of the Year honors. On board with Cheever now as he sets the car into turn number 3, and you see part of the 400,000 fans gathered here for this great Speed Classic Memorial Day weekend.
He said the car is exactly where he wants it. He's comfortable, he's moving his way through, and like we said, it's not always about qualifying, it's your pace over 500 miles.
Last year he started in 17th position and charged to the front early. Right now he is up to the 7th position, down to Gary Gerald.
Eliseo Salazar out of the medical facility. You appear to be okay. Can you tell us what happened, Eliseo?
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay. Disappointed because I made a mistake. We had a bad push in traffic, and I tried to compensate, you know, going too close to the inside, and I guess I touched, you know, the rough stuff past the white line on the inside of 2 with the left side, and the car got loose, and I went to the outside wall. I touched it, and that was it, and then just ricocheted to the other wall.
I know it's disappointing. Thank you. Glad you're all right.
Thank you.
Eliseo Salazar has crashed the last 3 out of 4 years, and he also failed to finish in the 1998 race.
Well, it was real interesting. He said he had a push, and to compensate, he had to drive the car low to the apex of the corner. He actually might have touched the grass and knocked the back end of the car loose.
Ari Luyendyk leads the Indianapolis 500 over Greg Ray, Kenny Brack, Billy Boat, and Mark Dismore. Back with more live coverage in just a moment. Leaded in the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. Running in first is Ari Luyendyk. There he is. Fighting in second spot is Greg Ray, about 7/10 of a second behind. Luyendyk has led all the way so far. Here comes Greg Ray in the yellow car coming out of corner number 4. There's Greg Ray. Kenny Breck has moved up to 3rd. Luyendyk beginning to lap some of the slower cars here on the 27th circuit of the race. By the way, Dr. Jack Miller, who had trouble at the beginning, is back in competition. And we also might mention that Scott Sharp is several laps down after an earlier problem. There is Dr. Miller. Well, he's back in the pit area.
Yes, and the reason is, Bob, now the clutch has gone. Originally, he could not get the car in gear. Now they have a problem with the clutch. They just cannot get Dr. Jack Miller underway.
Yeah, now they're going to try it again. Boy, it's been a tough day for the Carmel dentist from Carmel, Indiana.
Well, you can see him bouncing a little bit, so he might have a low gear problem there and has to exit it in a taller gear than he'd like.
Gary Gerald is with Johnny Unser.
crew works behind him trying to repair ailing brakes. Tell us what happened, Johnny, as you came down pit road.
Yeah, we just, that yellow came out and we lost the brakes. It's the strangest thing. It appears that the seals, for some unknown reason, on the calipers have just gone away. And I mean, we don't know the reason right now, and we're not sure exactly what we're going to do, but it appears that we're going to have to replace 2 or 3 of the brake calipers. I mean, it's a shame for the Hemmelgarn team and for Tybo and Hellmeyer Tools, Delta Faucets, because, you know, they worked so hard on this car and gave me a good car, and that just went away.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
We saw that Eddie Cheever has picked up another position. He got to the inside of Mark Dismore, and Eddie Cheever now moves up to 5th spot.
Well, it was interesting to hear Johnny talk about the brakes. This is not a place where you use brakes or you don't abuse brakes, because the only time you use them basically is when you come into the pit. So it's probably not something anybody really focuses on.
Buddy Lazier heads for pit road. We're on lap number 29 of the race, and Lazier hits his pit box, and the crew goes to work.
Well, it's time for routine stops. You know, these guys need fuel, so we're going to see all the top guys start to head towards the pits.
That was Jimmy Kite running very slowly on the racetrack. Lazier's work is completed in a little more than 11 seconds, and he's back in competition, and the caution is going to come out because of Jimmy Kite running very slowly. It appears as if the car has made the warm-up lane. Nevertheless, the caution comes out. That's going to bring out the pace car. That's going to bunch up the field, and it's also going to allow several drivers to make their pit stops under caution. Well, now they're not going to go yellow. Apparently, since he did make the warm-up lane, as we indicated, they are going to keep racing.
That could have been a terrible break for Lazier. You know, he just came in, and if the yellow would have come out, that could have destroyed his day.
Good racing going on here. That's over in turn number 3. Eddie Cheever once again trying to pick up positions.
Well, again, this is just a tremendous effort by Eddie and his crew. You know, the Infinity motor, there were some real question marks. A lot of people thought it didn't have the speed to be competitive, but it's showing the boys the way around right now.
Saw Billy Boat dive off into the pits. Scott Goodyear and Mark Dismore doing battle, with Goodyear picking up the position and moving up to 5th spot. Dismore back to 6th. Both Boat and Breck are in, Jerry Punch.
Both the A.J. Foyt cars making their first scheduled pit stop here on lap 31. Neither crew chief planning any adjustments, just 4 tires, get it completely full of methanol and down and away. They're waiting to get Billy Boat's car full. He is away, and Kenny Breck has already left pit road.
So both of two of A.J. Foyt's cars are in and out. We welcome you to the Indianapolis 500, the 83rd running of this great speed classic. 32 laps into the race. Ari Leyendijk has led all the way. We've had 1 caution involving Eliseo Salazar, an accident over in turn number 2. He is okay. There was also an incident on pit road, and we'll update the condition of that individual a little bit later. Now we're seeing wholesale pit stops here. Cheever is in, so is Scott Goodyear and many, many others.
Well, yeah, it looked like the yellow could have been out, but everybody, there are a lot of cars came in on that lap up.
Here's Leyendijk, who's slowly moving down at 80 miles an hour toward his pit box. Gary?
Well, these guys have waited a long time for their first crack at action. Let's see how they perform for the Treadway team. Leyendijk, the early pace setter, the early leader. Skip Ball at the right front. The veteran in his final 500 hits the marks perfectly. He rejects the drink bottle. We'll see if they make a change up front regarding the wings. Nothing thus far. Service complete. Leyendijk on the roll. We got him at just under 13 seconds.
Saw Scott Goodyear beat him out of the pits. That's Scott just ahead of Ari as we're on board on the warm-up lane. This is the area they must use when coming in and out of the pit area. And now Greg Ray, it would appear, has decided to come in for his stop. And Dr. Jerry Punch, he's coming toward you.
Greg Ray, who's had the fastest car all but 2 days of practice this month of May, hoping to get his first win for Team Menard. In his 20th anniversary of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the car number 2 came down pit road as a leader, and now Thomas Knapp and the crew will go to work. No adjustments planned. 4 tires, full of fuel, trying to be very, very deliberate in these pit stops. Get it full of fuel completely so you can make the fuel mileage work in your favor. Waiting. Finally, it's off the air jacket. 13.6 seconds, he is down and away.
Good stop for Ray as he goes back into competition.
Well, not quite as good as Ari's pit stop, though, but these pit stops early are actually going to be faster than we're going to see later in the race because they have a full head of fuel in these tanks. It's all gravity fed.
And we do have a yellow. There was a car stalled in the warm-up lane. No problem as far as an accident, but we are under caution for the second time. And we'll be back with more coverage of the Indianapolis 500 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
500, 36 of 200 laps complete. And we are still under the yellow flag before this huge crowd. If you're joining us late, it was a very clean start. 32 cars taking the green flag. Jack Miller's car couldn't make it. And it was Ari Luyendyk for the first time in his career in his very last race who led the first lap for the first time ever, the first incident. Eliseo Salazar going into the outside wall, spinning all the way across to the inside retaining wall, but he was fine. That took place on lap 9. And you're up to date at Indy. And back up now to Bob Jenkins and Tom Sneva. Gents.
Sam Schmidt was shown as the leader of the race when the caution came out because of the stalled car. He has just completed his pit work and now is back out there.
Well, most of the contenders stopped under the green, but Schmidt and Tony Stewart, starting towards the back, were able to stretch the fuel mileage and get to that first yellow.
We'll show you Sam Schmidt as he came down on pit road and hit his mark perfectly, and the crew went to work.
Well, it's a lot easier to do this under the yellow. There's not nearly as much pressure on this crew when the yellow is out.
In less than 15 seconds, 4 tires changed, the car full of fuel, and back out there in competition. Riding along with Ari Luyendyk, but right now down to Jan Beekes.
Well, we talked about Jimmy Kite. Unfortunately, he was the driver that got into one of the crew members down for Robbie McGee. What happened as you were trying to leave the pits?
I mean, the guys waved me out, and I pulled out, and there was a car on my right. I mean, I tried to pull out into the slow lane, and we hit, and as soon as I got hit, it broke my steering. I mean, I was on the brakes as hard as I could. It just, you know, there's nothing you can do with broken steering. I mean, I don't even, you know, I feel bad right now. I mean, there's nothing I can do. You know, I hope everybody down there is okay, and, you know, I apologize to the families. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's the most helpless feeling I've ever had.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Jimmy Kite not only out of the race, but also suffering because his car was the one that made contact with Steve Freed, the crew chief on the number 55 car that has injured him. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah.
39 laps completed in the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. That is the rundown as they stand right now, with Ari Luyendyk the leader, Greg Ray second, rookie Robbie McGee up to 6th position, and Eddie Cheever is up to 10th. Now we'll take a look at those who have gained significantly since the start of the race. Stewart is up 19 spots, McGee up 21, Boycell has gained 26 from his 33rd and last starting position. Calkins up 18, and Buell has advanced 16 positions as the green flag waves, and we are back to competition at Indianapolis.
You can see everybody looking for a spot to get around. A lot of people got a little bit better jumper, anticipated that start better than some of the ones in the back.
Luyendyk is the leader of the race, but he is not at the front of the field at this time. Those drivers that are running ahead of him are actually almost a full lap down.
Well, one of those is Eddie Cheever, who's trying to maintain that lead in the pack. He's very fast. He's come to the front, but he's got caught up with this pit stop situation.
It was an ill-timed caution because many had just come in for pit stops when that caution came out, and therefore those that had pitted were in a sense penalized because all those who had not were able to come in to get a pit stop under a caution. But there is the leader, Luyendyk. And Dr. Jerry Punch reports from pit road.
Actually, Bob, we're back in the garage area. Dr. Jack Miller, you had problems almost from the start. What happened?
It was from the start. I don't know, when they said, gentlemen, start your engines, we fired up fine. as soon as we went to pull off the grid, put it in gear, and it just stopped. And it was like the clutch wasn't engaging, or letting the disengage in actually. And we just kept pushing. We finally took the stop away from the clutch, got it out there, but every time I'd lift off the throttle or whatever, the car would want to come out of gear. So driving with the left hand and holding it in the gear shifter with the right hand is just going to make a long day. So we thought we'd bring it back here, make some adjustments to get back out there.
Well, the crew's going to work on it and try to get him back on the racetrack. Bob?
We're watching Tony Stewart. He runs in 5th position at the moment.
Bob, for Tony Stewart on the last pit stop, they gave him 1 turn of front wing on both sides. Obviously, the big benefit for him was when he pitted, but they've also improved the handling of that car.
When they give him the front wing, Bob, that indicates that he had some understeer. The car wouldn't turn. The front tires were actually sliding when he went into the corner. He couldn't turn the car, so they put more downforce, more aerodynamic grip on the front of the car to try to get the balance right.
Tony has had bad luck here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the past, as we watch his telemetry up to about 230 miles an hour at times. As a kid who grew up in the Indianapolis area, wants so much to win this race that he has been attending since a child. Top 5, Lyondike, Greg Ray, Schmidt, Breck, and Stewart.
Well, Sam Schmidt was able to catch that yellow, took big advantage of that, and has moved way up in the standings.
There are about 10 cars that are on the tail end of the lead lap ahead of Lyondike. They include Cheever and Robbie Enzer and Jeff Ward, Scott Goodyear, Billy Boat, Johns Hollinsworth, Robbie Buell, Davey Hamilton, Buddy Lazier, and Mark Dismore, all those suffering because of that ill-timed caution.
Well, this shot we're seeing right now is out the back of Lyondike's car, and that's Greg Ray, who's not that far behind right now, and it looks like he's closing the gap.
And this would be our first lead change on the racetrack. Schmidt has led under caution, and indeed, Greg Ray goes to the front and takes over command of the Indy 500.
Well, again, he was able to take advantage of the pit stop, make an adjustment on the car, and obviously has improved the handling of that vehicle.
On board with Arie Luyendyk, and now for the first time this afternoon, he is not the leader of the race. Gary Gerald has more.
Bob, this is almost by design. Arie's game plan coming in was to just see what developed. If he was challenged by Ray, they'd say they'd let him go. They don't want him to run away and hide, but they just want to keep the race pace, stay out of trouble. Greg Ray's team, on the other hand, said at the last pit stop, if we get an opportunity, we will go. We'll go for it. So there he is, Ray in front for the first time, but no concern from Arie's camp.
On the last in-car of Arie's car, you could see him going to the radio button, and he's probably asking the crew, where did Ray come from?
Jerry Punch, we also noticed that Buzz Calkins is having trouble.
Bob, they are pushing his car back in the garage area. He sits in the race car as we go along beside. Apparently, they've had a problem with the gearbox, and they're going to try to get it in here. Remember, last year was the first year you could come back to the garage, repair the car, and get back in the Indy 500s. These guys are hustling back to the garage to try to get the gearbox looked at and possibly get Buzz back out.
Greg Ray now bearing down on Mark Dismore, trying to put him a full lap down, unable to do so at the moment. Here comes Luyendyk running in second spot, and his teammate Sam Schmidt is right behind him. And Tom Schmidt is doing a good job here in the early going.
Well, you know, equipment's a big part of this event, and being on the same team with Luyendyk, both those cars are obviously set up to go to the front.
There's one interesting difference between Arie's car and his teammate Schmidt's car. I know you're familiar with what they've done from G-Force with the suspension pieces on Arie's car. There have been some aerodynamic tweaks that will be standard on the 2000 models next year, but Schmidt does not have that advantage. They think it might be worth 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles per hour under ideal conditions. So there's a little added incentive or advantage for Arie Luyendyk.
Well, you know, when you're number one on the team, sometimes you get more cookies than the other guy. And with Luyendyks, there's aerodynamic tubing that controls the front suspension of the car, and they use an aerodynamic tube. They actually spent a lot of money on this car to try to tighten up the bend on that tube. According to their engineer, they feel they've reduced the frontal area by 20 inches on Luyendyk's car.
Well, we hear about how weather conditions change the track and how cars will change their handling during the course of a race. But how does strategy change during the race? That's a question we put to the current leader, Greg Ray.
500 miles is a very long way. You don't want to put yourself in a position to be taken out. You don't want to lose focus, so you create an incident. Certainly you're trying to take care of your equipment so you don't abuse it, so you don't have a failure. You know, when you get close to the end of the race, you put all that aside, certainly if you're in a position to win, and it then becomes a sprint race. And so you want to make sure you get to the point where you can be part of that sprint race.
Greg Ray led 18 laps here at the Indy 500 last year. He has, however, suffered 2 DNFs, but right now he is the leader of the race. But right behind him is Arie Luyendyk. In fact, the interval is just about 2 car lengths as they head into the North Short Chute.
Well, there's good traffic here, so a big part of the driver's job is anticipating the traffic situation. Boy, there was trouble right in front of Ray right there.
Like Ray tried to take some evasive action. Here he is now going to the inside of Mark.
Well, look at Luyendyk.
Oh, and Luyendyk and Ray go wheel to wheel into the corner, and Ray survives. They have put Mark Dismore a lap down.
Well, Luyendyk had 2 or 3 cars break and win for him, and it gave him a little bit better run on the traffic than Greg Ray had, and he was almost able to make that pass.
Now Sam Schmidt trying to get to the inside of Dismore and put him also a lap down. Well, Sunday, June 6th, here on ABC Sports, the Women's USA versus Canada National Soccer Team match. With a goal in her last game, U.S. forward Mia Hamm became the most prolific goal scorer in the history of international soccer, men or women, with 108 international goals. Join us at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Sunday, June 6th, for Women's USA versus Canada National Soccer. Well, it's Greg Ray, followed by Arie Luyendyk, Sam Schmidt, Kenny Breck, and Tony Stewart, the top 5 in the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. The race already more than a fourth of the way over. It's completed at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Greg Ray is the leader. The green race average is above 208 miles an hour. We've had 3 leaders, 4 lead changes, and 2 caution periods for a total of 12 laps, and 2 cars so far are out of competition. Now our national car rental fastest laps of the day, and this graphic, Tom Sneva, is dominated by just 2 drivers, Luyendyk and Ray, with Luyendyk at the top of the chart. His fastest lap so far in the 500, 2:17.5.
Well, we're just a quarter away through this thing. I think there's going to be other leaders shortly.
Well, let's check the storylines that we developed before the race started. Arie in his final 500, currently 3rd. How about Eddie Cheever? He's moved up well, currently 8th. Tony Stewart is 5th. Greg Ray is the leader. Robbie Gordon, not the performance that perhaps many expected. He's back in 18th. Foyt's team still running well, all in the top 13, led by Kenny Breck. Gary Gerald has an update on Robbie Gordon.
Well, the reason that he had fallen back, they had a tremendous vibration on a set of tires right after they had made their first pit stop. So unfortunately, he had to make an immediate second stop. That's what put him a lap down. But he has worked his way from 23rd back up now to 17th. So he's gained 6 spots. He's clearly on the move, but those vibration in the tires were really costly early.
Well, Tom Sneva, the guy that we've been watching for the last few laps, is Kenny Breck, who has moved to 2nd. He's just car lengths behind the leader, Greg Ray.
Well, you know, we knew it just a matter of time before we started hearing from AJ's boys, but Kenny Breck's eyeballs are wide open right now. He's hunting them down.
He has put Arie Luyendyk back to 3rd. And this is how he did it. Off of corner number 2, down the backstretch, and what a move.
Well, again, he's the 3rd guy in line, so he's able to get a little more aero help than the 2nd guy in line, which was Luyendyk, so he's able to get enough of a run to make the pass.
And that 3rd car was John Hollinsworth, the rookie. So now it becomes a battle up front. Greg Ray as he works traffic up ahead, and Kenny Breck just sitting there seeing what's going to happen.
Well, Bob, what's really interesting is right in front of Ray, the yellow car, is Buddy Lazier. Now, Buddy was real happy with his race car. They worked real hard on that setup, so he's trying to stay in front, keep from going a lap down. And here comes Ray, or here comes Kenny Breck.
And Breck takes the lead at the end of the backstretch into turn number 3.
Look at Lyondike. Lyondike's looking under Ray.
Lyondike falls in behind Ray off of corner number 4. Down the front straightaway, he darts to the inside. And Lyondike trying to take the second spot away from Greg Ray. He does.
Well, what happened, see, Ray, he lost the air in the front of the car when Lyondike got underneath him, so you got to roll out of the throttle. When he does, Sam Schmidt goes by also.
Schmidt having a heck of a run here this afternoon. So Lyondike moves to second, Schmidt third, putting Greg Ray back to fourth. Ray led just moments ago, but the leader of the race now is Kenny Breck. He led 23 laps here last year.
Well, that's Lazier on the inside. He's just getting passed by all the leaders right now, so I'm not sure if he's got a problem. Yep, that's Lazier going into the pits.
Let's check the speeds at the line, see who is the fastest at this point. Right now it's Breck. There's Lazier, who has come in, but he's been having some major handling problems. Looks like the fastest on that last lap was Tony Stewart, who is back in the 5th position. The crew, the Himmelgarn crew, getting Buddy Lazier serviced, and Lazier pulls back into competition.
Well, you could see them put some front wing into the car. They turned it, but it didn't turn it very far. But what they can do is adjust air pressure on the tires. And these tires are very sensitive to air pressure changes. So even though it didn't look like they did much, we can't tell what they did on pressures.
Group of cars running together here. Look at those.
Whoa, we got trouble.
Oh,
we got trouble.
Car into the
Yellow, yellow. Turn 1. Mr. Close. Car 14 scenery.
Yep.
Turn 2.
Sam Schmidt.
Yep.
Sam Schmidt. Heavy traffic, Bob. I mean, they were all ganged up there, and if you just roll out of the throttle a little bit, it can really affect the balance on the car.
But again, we look at this suspension and tire energy management system, and the left rear wheel stayed on the car. The pits are closed right now. That's the indication to the drivers that they cannot pit without penalty. They must wait until the pace car comes out and picks up the leader, forms up the pack, and then they can pit. Let's take a look at this incident, which has put Sam Schmidt into the wall. This is Lyondike's.
Well, look at Sam. You could see him really close the gap on Lyondike, and when he saw that he was closing the gap faster than expected, he had to roll out of the throttle. When he rolls out of the throttle, the car twitched, and boy, it's just small mistakes at these speeds lead to big problems.
Sam Schmidt, knowing that he had a good run, now suffers disappointment that he will carry for a long time.
Well, you can see the traffic. Lyondike's rolled out of the throttle. Some of these guys rolled back. Sam didn't quite catch it quick enough. Lyondike slowing down surprised him a little, Bob, and jumped out of the throttle just a little. You can see the traffic, and Sam just slides into the outer wall.
And a good job of driving by John Hollinsworth, who was right there with the crash and did a fine job of avoiding hitting Schmidt as he slid up to the wall. Tony Stewart was right behind him, or perhaps Greg Ray was right behind him when the incident occurred. So we're under caution once again, and we'll be back with more coverage of the Indianapolis 500 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Sorry.
Now, during this caution, we have had several pit stops, and this is a look at our pit summary. Lyondike came into the pits in second and comes out as the leader. He and Breck traded places. Ray stayed third. McGee climbs from 5th to 4th, and Scott Goodyear also picking up 3 positions as a result of the pit stops that were just concluded.
It was a battle in the pits, Bob. It was fun to watch. They were nose and nose. I couldn't tell who beat who out of the pits, but both teams were on the mark.
Well, the Goodyear blimp, Spirit of Akron, is cruising at an altitude of 1,000 feet above the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in relatively clear skies, partly cloudy. 35 miles an hour is the speed of the Goodyear blimp, considerably about 200 miles an hour slower than these cars are competing at here at Indy.
I got to drive that thing once, Bob, and they don't react very fast either.
I got to ride in it once, and I didn't quite enjoy it. I like to go a little faster than the Goodyear blimp goes. Still under caution here as Arie Luyendyk is now shown as the leader of the race. Let's go down and check the recently concluded pit stops, starting with Gary Gerald.
You guys were talking about the performance on Arie Luyendyk's machine. 11.3 seconds. It was absolutely flawless. These guys knew it. They loved it. We checked with Skip Ball, I should say. They have made no changes whatsoever in the course of the race. They haven't even altered air pressure on the tires. This car has been perfectly prepared for the conditions today. Jan?
Well, Gary, Tony Stewart, their team, the Home Depot team, took a full 30 seconds to make a pit stop, and here's why. They changed the wicker bill. I'll show you what a wicker bill is. It sits on the back of the wing, and they changed it by only 1/16 of an inch. They made it bigger. His car was too loose. The back was kicking out. This gives you more downforce at the back end. It took longer, but Stewart should be faster. Jerry?
And down in the A.J. Foyt pit, Kenny Breck's crew took about 12.5 seconds. They have not made a single adjustment on the car since the race began. Tommy Lamance, running this team behind me, says we have not had to change anything at all. I asked him about the concern about the move Breck made to go to the front and take the lead. He said, no, we're not concerned at all about his pace. We're very, very comfortable here as we approach the halfway. Bob?
Right now, Kenny Breck is second at the 500. Second to Arie Luyendyk, Greg Ray, Robbie McGee, and Scott Goodyear, the top 5.
Well,
Greg Ray, he does.
Well, what happened, see, Ray, he lost the air in the front of the car when Luyendyk got underneath him, so you got to roll out of the throttle. When he does.
Well, there we are. That was just a few seconds ago, just to let you in on the secret. It was taped just a few seconds ago, but I think we now can go live back to America and see what's happening live at the moment.
Part of the huge crowd here at Indianapolis. There's the leaderboard, the top 11, 67 laps out of 200 completed here in the 83rd running of the 500. And it all depends who hits the line first as to how they line up on the track after pits.
Well, it does, and it was very, very close.
Luyendyk says, go ahead, you were there first. So Arie Luyendyk will have the lead of the race when we go back to green, and we should do that here in just about another less than half a lap.
Just a quick word on Greg Ray. He was struggling just before that pit stop, sliding back from the lead. They gave him a little more downforce all the way around on the car when they sent him out. Be interesting to see now if he is effectively fast the way he was early.
Well, when they give it more downforce, Gary, as you know, it can cause drag in the car, but they did go to both ends. Usually the guys are just trying to fix one end or the other. The car's either pushing or loose, but these guys actually added wicker on both the front wings and the rear wing.
Off corner number 4, the green flag comes out. We're back to racing at Indianapolis on lap number 70. The charge begins down the front straightaway. Luyendyk leads him into the corner. That white car of Kenny Breck is running in second spot. Boy, it's 2x2 through there. Some tight competition. Whoa.
Heavy traffic. Some great stuff there. Again, the leaders got stuck not in the middle of the pack and not at the head of that restart.
Looking back on Scott Sharp, who is several laps down as a result of a problem very early, even before the green flag come out.
Well, this is good stuff. They're all looking for a spot to get by, but when they're 3 and 4 wide, Bob, it's tough to find a spot of real estate to go with. Inside Scott Sharp's car, he's sort of right in the middle of this act.
Greg Ray and John Hollinsworth running there with him. Hollinsworth, the rookie, gives them room on the low side of the racetrack.
Well, that's Dismore right in front of him, so they made changes to that car and made some serious improvements.
Dismore gets to the inside coming off the corner. Greg Ray running second.
That's Scott Goodyear we just saw, and right in front of him was Robbie Gordon, who again has made some changes, and it looks like they've got that thing running better.
Clear racetrack up ahead at this point for Kenny Breck.
And again, again, Kenny did a great job in the heavy traffic early off that restart. Was able to get through the traffic just a little bit easier or a little smoother than Lyondike and Ray. So it's going to be fun to watch now, Bob. Let's see who can close the gap or who's the fastest on the racetrack at this point.
Kenny Breck trying to become the first reigning national champion since Bobby Unser in 1975 to go on and win the Indy 500. Monday, August the 2nd, live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, the showdown at Sherwood. David Duval against Tiger Woods, top-ranked David Duval. Current PGA money leader with 11 PGA championships, including the 99 Players Championship. And, of course, Tiger Woods has 8 PGA Tour wins, including the 97 Masters. That's Monday, August the 2nd, live at 8 o'clock here on ABC.
Well, we talked about handicaps at the start of the race. When you mentioned those two guys, those handicaps don't add up to much right there. And that's Greg Ray trying to get by Dismore. Now Dismore, again, we saw him earlier have trouble. Was easy mark for these guys, but they made some adjustment. That car is a lot better right now.
I mentioned a few minutes ago that Scott Sharp was several laps down. Actually, he is only 1 lap down right now, being shown in the 15th position. Ray comes down, completes lap number 73. The interval between himself and the leader, Kenny Breck, is a little more than a second and a half.
Again, there's just a car separating Greg Ray and Robbie Gordon right now. So Robbie has made that car a lot better.
Greg Ray says he used to set the alarm at 2 o'clock in the morning so he could wake up and watch ESPN when they ran the old Indy 500 films and videos, dreaming about how someday he wanted to compete here. And he is. For the 3rd time, listening to Greg Ray's radio.
Well, you hear the crew chief sort of entertaining him by saying go, go, go. I don't know if we can see him on that part of the racetrack or not, but always encouragement from all levels of the race team.
On board with Buddy Lazier, who's in 22nd position. Certainly not the race that we had expected to see from Buddy Lazier, as he's always a hard charger and, of course, a former champion here at Indianapolis. You see the traffic going by, entering turn number 3.
Yeah, just before that, you saw him take his left hand off the steering wheel. The left hand is the hand used to move the sway bars, the NA roll bars, things that you can maybe try to adjust the balance on the car. But Buddy's obviously not very happy right now.
Whoa, Dismore and Goodyear. Close call entering 1.
Well, it surprised Scott a little bit. He didn't realize he was there, and that's where you give it that little speed wobble, and that increases the heart rate substantially.
Scott Goodyear running in the 4th position at the moment. He started in 9th, fell back to as far as 14th on lap 36, but now is in 4th. Of Eddie Cheever there, who's currently in 7th position.
But you can see Goodyear got a big run on Lazier coming off the corner. That means he was able to get the pedal down back to the floor quicker than Lazier. And the pass is made at the other end of the racetrack, but that pass was initiated coming off the previous turn by Scott being able to use a little more throttle, a little quicker on the exit of that previous corner.
Once again, there's Greg Ray and Ari Lyondike running in 2nd and 3rd position, as 76 laps have now been completed on board with Lyondike.
You can see Ari, he moves his hands around on that steering wheel. Now this is not a typical deal. You don't have to turn the wheel very far, but Ari, he puts his hands up, he jumps the hands around, and puts that right hand on top of the wheel as he enters the corner.
There's Eddie Cheever. In 6th position now, as he's picked up a spot on Roberto Moreno. And Cheever now sets his sights on the rookie, Robbie McGee, who's having a tremendous race. That is McGee right ahead of him. That now we're looking back from Lazier onto the car of Robbie McGee. And what a tremendous race this young 25-year-old from St. Louis is doing. Jan has an update.
Yes, for Steve Freed, the latest update that we have is they have taken him to Methodist Hospital hospital. He is in critical condition, and that's all the information we have at this time. But imagine this, guys. That would demoralize and certainly has changed the emotion down here for this crew. But the Energizer crew has regrouped. They have changed positions because he was changing the right front. They made some of the quickest stops we've seen here on pit road, and now he's running in 5th spot.
Can you imagine the emotion going through Robbie McGee, if he indeed knows it, running so well here in his first 500, but also carrying that with him?
Well, how about the Energizer Bunny that's probably riding along with him, Bob? I mean, it's got to have his attention.
McGee in 5th spot. Graduate of the USF 2000 series, which has produced several of the drivers coming to Indianapolis. Remember, there were 4 rookies as we entered this event. McGee is the best so far in terms of where they are. The numbers in parentheses indicate where they started, and on the left where they are right now. So Wim Eichmans is second best in the rookie category. There's the leader of the race, Kenny Breck. It's now coming up on 80 laps, about to be concluded. There's second place, Greg Ray. Ari Lyondike is right behind him. Speed of the race, well, the leader turning laps at about 210 miles an hour. The fastest traveler this most recent lap completed was Scott Goodyear, with the lap at more than 211. Goodyear back in 4th.
Scott, he's been around this place a long time, been very close to winning more than one race here, and he's a guy that's going to use his head, and if that thing's running at the end, he's going to be close to the front.
There's Lyondike. As we enter this race, Ari was ranked 40th in all-time Indy 500 laps led. He has led 44 laps so far today. That's moved him up to 28th on the all-time lap leader list. Tough break for Donnie Beechler, one of the short track open wheel drivers who has come here to Indianapolis, and unfortunately it would appear as if his day is over. If not, certainly they're going to have to take the car back to the garage area and do some repairs. So a disappointing 83rd Indy 500 from Donnie Beechler from Springfield, Illinois.
This is good stuff, Bob. I mean, the top 3-4 cars are very, very close to each other, and they're just sort of pacing themselves. We got a long ways to go.
Scott Sharp has come in, heating the black flag. Apparently, the observers around the course have noticed some fluid coming from that car once again.
I would hazard a guess we're done, buddy. I would hazard a guess we're done. Just as soon as you get in, switch it off. Stay in the car, though. The last change you made was pretty damn good, David. We're flying. We had an awesome race car. We really did. Side point off.
Well, you can see him talking about it. I mean, the drivers are easily entertained. They got the balance on that car right, and he was happy with the car, even though he's out at the 500.
Look at this down the straightaway. Wow! And Breck has lost the lead. Breck falls back to 3rd.
Well, again, it's a traffic situation, Bob. The traffic is amazing.
Wheel to wheel through the corner between Greg Ray and Ari Lyondike for the lead.
Again, it's just anticipating, predicting what the driver in front of you is going to do when you get to him. And that's a tough job. And sometimes being the leader, you're at a disadvantage, and sometimes it's in your favor.
Oh, all the way around the corner, wheel to wheel are Lyondike and Breck for 2nd, and they go through 3 wheel to wheel, and they're doing it through 4. Great battle here for 2nd spot, and they come down the straightaway.
Wow, Kenny Breck didn't give up on him. I mean, it feels like we're in the last couple laps, but we're not, Bob.
Wow. Lyondike holding on to 2nd spot, but that was a thrilling half lap. While all that was going on, of course, Greg Ray was able to get the lead. So put Ray back at the front of the field at Indy.
Well, we got some good stuff happening. Look, these guys aren't done with it yet. That's Robbie Gordon going underneath Kenny Breck. Breck's probably trying to get his heartbeat somewhat calmed down before he goes after these guys again.
Gordon is not on the lead lap. He's a lap down in 14th position. but still running well.
Well, again, they've changed the balance. They've had a couple pit stops now, and he's got the car more to his liking. The question is, can he make up the time he lost early?
While we were watching that terrific struggle, Mark Dismore was able to unlap himself. Down to Gary, who's with Sam Schmidt.
Sam Schmidt, it looked like your teammate Ari Leyendijk checked up, and that made you a victim. Was that the correct view of that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, it's my fault. I mean, it had nothing to do with him. We were just kind of running around at a cautious pace, and there was a lot of slicing and dicing going on even for this early. And Ari got in there behind some lap traffic, and I think he was fighting with Greg a little bit, trying to get the position, and it just checked up more than I thought he would. We went in there and just at turning got into the marbles and tried to get it down there, and it just never came back. And I'm just crushed for the team. I mean, we had so much going for us this race, and the car was absolutely hooked up, and they did a fantastic job preparing the car. And we were just going to drive around, you know, and really frustrating.
Thank you, Sam. Glad you're all right. Let's go to Jerry.
Scott Sharp still sitting on pit road. Mike Horvath and the crew have taken both the cowl coverings off. The problem is the engine is overheating in Scott Sharp's car. They're going to try to get him back out and get some valuable points. They've used a couple of fire extinguishers and tried to redirect some air to the radiators on both sides, but apparently the temperature gauges are showing inside the temperature is way, way too hot. Sharp pulled away and will try to last, but probably we're not sure for how long.
Been a tough day for Scott Sharp, but not for Greg Ray. He's the leader of the Indy 500 with 86 laps completed. Ari Leyendijk second, followed by Kenny Breck, Scott Goodyear, and last year's winner Eddie Cheever. The 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. 91 laps have been completed, so we're nearing the halfway point. The leader is Greg Ray. Ari Leyendijk is second. There's the interval between the two. That's Ray there in the yellow car putting a lap on Jimmy Kite, but Leyendijk is right behind him. Kenny Breck is third, followed by Scott Goodyear and Eddie Cheever. Down to Gary Gerald, who's with Scott Sharp.
Scott, have you ever had a more frustrating day in your racing career?
I don't think so. You know, there's so much anticipation, so much money, time. I feel really bad for Delphi and the Kellys. You know, they poured a lot into this race, and I guess just a bit of an error at the start. You know, we left our radiator ducts in there to keep the temperatures up, and on the pace lap we probably overheated the engine because we got the chassis working really well, but it just never had much steam down the straightaway. And that last run, it was just getting slower and slower and slower, and we cooked ourselves.
Yep.
All right, we've got a yellow.
And we have a yellow. Steve Knapp has crashed. Car into the wall. He is the Rookie of the Year from last year here at Indianapolis. The caution comes out on lap 93, Tom.
He finished third last year, did a heck of a job, but you can see the disgust. He takes the wheel off. He's moving around, so it looks like we don't have any injury problems, but
that thing that he threw out, Tom, was a head restraint, which is something else that the Pep Boys Indy Racing League has mandated and has certainly been beneficial to some of these drivers who take up to 80 G's when they hit the wall.
Well, we saw a couple 80 G crashes during the month. That doesn't look like that one was that severe, but the safety things really do improve their chances. Well, again, that's sort of unusual. We've kept this a little bit late. I think that thing started on the other side of that short chute, but when we see it, he's in an unusual place in the racetrack, so I'm not sure how it got started. Again, we see it real late. The car's real low, and it's doing some kind of weird spin. I don't know if it's already hit the wall somewhere and knocked something loose.
Well, looks like that Steve Knapp is all right. He is out of the car and appears to be okay. Down to Jerry Punch with Donnie Beechler.
Donnie, the big concern today was an engine that had some miles on it. Is that what put you out?
Yeah, we were very concerned about that, but we were out there just trying to keep a consistent pace going. And the last probably 3 or 4 laps, we've seen the fuel or the oil pressure fluctuating, and then all of a sudden it just went to zero. I think we broke a shaft in the oil pump, and then the engine let go.
A tough day for the former sprint car ace, Donnie Beechler. Bob?
Beechler among those who will watch the rest of the race from the sidelines. We're under our 4th caution of the day here at Indianapolis.
And he talked about the oil pump. If you don't pump oil, the engine gets real hot and usually end up with more ventilation holes in the side of that motor than you initially wanted.
Nearing the halfway point of the Indy 500, we'll be back with more coverage of the Indianapolis 500 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
featuring the Indianapolis 500. Al Michaels with a reset as we are about halfway through this 83rd edition of the Indianapolis 500. Right now we are under yellow, and it's really become a three-man race at this particular point, and really very little surprise in as much as Arie Luyendyk figured to be there, and he was. In fact, he had the lead all the way from lap 1 through lap 45 when he was finally overtaken. As we take a look back to that point in the race, on the 45th lap, it was Greg Ray who had started just outside Luyendyk on row 1, who was stalking him, moved by on the inside and assumed the lead. That was the first lead change of the day. Then on lap 54, Kenny Breck works his way into the picture as he moves past Arie Luyendyk and into second place. And Kenny was able to keep on moving as well, the defending IRL champion who won 3 straight races last year. Then on lap 59, he moves past Greg Ray as Breck takes the lead for the first time. And before that lap had been completed, Arie Luyendyk right back into the picture as he moves back into second position, passing Ray. And then some great racing taking place 19 laps ago on lap 82. A great three-way battle with Luyendyk in his last race ever. Greg Ray, who was clearly the fastest during practice during the month of May, apart from the day of qualifying, and the Swedish-born Kenny Breck, the quiet Swede who drives for the volatile Texan A.J. Foyt. In fact, A.J. calls Kenny Breck Huggy. Make of that what you want, but Huggy is right there with Luyendyk and Ray. Great three-way battle under yellow halfway through the Indianapolis 500.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 83rd running of the 500-mile race, and we are very close to the halfway point. When they come around next time and get the green flag, it'll be lap number 99. Arie Luyendyk in his final 500 is second. Eddie Cheever running 5th. Tony Stewart is 9th. All these drivers doing very good job here in the first half of the race. Team Menard's drivers are 3rd and 13th, and A.J. Foyt's team, the worst is Robbie Buell, and he has come from the back row up to 8th. Down to Jerry Punch.
Lap 95, the very first adjustment of the day for Kenny Breck. They took one round of front wing out. The car was a little bit loose, so it's so far so good for AJ, who has 3 cars in the top 10.
Quick update on Arie Luyendyk. Again, no changes on the pit stop. They like the balance of the car. It's been perfect all day. As far as Greg Ray is concerned, they also made no changes, but they're surprised the race pace is a little slower. Jan?
Well, for Eddie Cheever, he was not able to see his crew chief, Owen Snyder. So Owen Snyder has put a red piece of tape on his uniform so he can spot him here down on pit road.
Well, Arie Luyendyk got a tremendous jump and went by Kenny Breck and everybody and has gone into the lead again. What a good move on the restart.
Well, Arie really anticipated that start. I'm not sure what Kenny was doing, but Luyendyk did a tremendous job and got a big jump on the grease.
Wow. One car going clear down almost to the grass to get by. That is Scott Goodyear, it would appear.
Yep, that's Scott Goodyear.
Well, Luyendyk just had better timing because you have to stay behind the pace car until it gets into pit lane, and Kenny Breck was afraid of that, and so he kind of held back, but Luyendyk had it timed perfectly, and away he went.
Low, Goodyear's slow. This is inside Goodyear. Everybody's going by.
Scott Goodyear, the current leader in the Pep Boys Indy Racing League Championship, and the winner at Phoenix recently, is on to the warm-up lane.
Our Goodyear probably is coming.
I'm headed that way. Scott Goodyear had just made a great move.
What a terrible break for Scott Goodyear, who was running in 5th position. The car is just coasting, and you can see the dismay and the disappointment from the pit crew. He's going to be coasting through the second quarter.
You got Luyendyk followed by Ray.
Well, Luyendyk has the lead because of a great move coming to green. And by the way, now 101 laps have been completed. We are past the halfway point. Let's take a look at it again. Now look at Breck. He's trying to hold back behind the pace car, but Luyendyk had the gun out and ready to go.
Well, that was the whole situation. Actually, the leaders had started to accelerate too soon, and they caught the pace car. Now, the pace car was in the pit, but you still can't pass that pace car.
We have a yellow. Could it be for Scott Goodyear? Did his car get into a position on the racetrack that would require its tow? In any case, yes, I believe that is the case, because he did not make it to a station. This is the fifth yellow of the race. Jerry?
Well, John Barnes, crew chief and co-owner for Scott Goodyear. And John, the car slowed abruptly. What's the problem?
Looks like we lost a connecting rod or something in the motor. It's pretty severe. So one of the things, Speedway Engine's done a great job for us all year long. I can't ask for anything else. Just one of them days.
One of those days for Scott Goodyear, Bob.
Well, he blew an engine during the final practice, and now his car is stalled on the warm-up lane near turn number 2. Back with more live coverage here on ABC of the 83rd running of the Indy 500. Arie Luyendyk is your leader. Down to Gary Gerald.
We've tracked down Steve Knapp, who's been released from the medical center. Tell us what happened.
You know, the Delco Microphonics Prolonged Thermotech team's done a great job for us here. We just missed something at the start of the race. We had a pretty big push. We got that dialed out of it. Last stop, we made some pressure changes, got the car pretty neutral, and we're picking up speed as we burned the fuel off, but it just turned around really fast in turn 1. I didn't even feel it coming. I've gotten loose a few times today, but I caught those, but this one happened really quick, and I thought I had it saved in the short chute there, pointing the right direction, but I flatted all the tires going around. So.
Tell me that race drivers don't have their own favorites. Look at here on Steve Knapp's uniform. That's the autograph of Arie Luyendyk, his final ride at Indy. Now Steve's out of the race. I know who he's pulling for. Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
Another reminder that Saturday, June the 5th, the Belmont Stakes live at 4:30 here on ABC as Charismatic goes for the Triple Crown at the Belmont. Last Triple Crown winner was affirmed back in 1978. Will Charismatic be able to do it? Join us June the 5th live at 4:30 here on ABC. Now a half a lap away from going back to green. Luyendyk, Ray, and Breck, your top 3, followed by Eddie Cheever.
Well, you speak of Triple Crowns. Luyendyk's going for his Triple Crown right now. It's going to be fun to watch it. The race has been real exciting. We're inside Eddie Cheever's car right now, but the competition has been just outstanding.
So far, so good. The green comes out, and here we go, back to racing.
You can see Cheever moving on the inside, getting a good run on Kenny Breck.
Cheever trying to get into 3rd position, and he does so. So put Cheever up to 3rd, and Breck back to 4th spot.
Well, you know, the last restart when Breck was leading the pack, you know, we thought the pace car might have surprised him, but here again he got snookered a little bit on that restart. So hopefully this little Swedish guy is going to be learning some of this for the end of the race.
6 laps past the halfway point. No threat of rain here in Indianapolis right now, but of course an official race is 101 laps. Some other guys we need to talk about running in the top 10 as you see the scoring serial. Tony Stewart there in 10th position. Mark Dismore has unlapped himself under green and is running in 7th position.
Actually, Dismore's been one of the quickest cars on the racetrack, but he's had a lot of traffic to go through trying to get that lap back, but just doing a fantastic job.
And right now he is 6th, and that is Billy Boat, the 5th place driver, just ahead of him. It's been a good race for Mark Dismore, the native of Greenfield, Indiana, which is just east of Indianapolis, who of course has gained his experience mostly from go-karts before moving to higher formulas, and he owns a go-kart company in Greenfield.
Well, you talk about a guy that keeps digging. You know, they struggled early. The car wasn't right at the beginning, but he was able to survive that part, not let his motions get the best of him, and they made the car better, and now he's competitive again.
While Dismore is on a good run, there's the sad story of Scott Goodyear's car being pushed into Gasoline Alley, and it would appear as if his race is over. Dismore once won 8 of 10 Pacific Division Formula Atlantic races. Here in Indianapolis, it's his 4th start here today. Here are the speeds from the last lap, and look how much faster Luyendyk is, almost 3 miles an hour faster than 2nd place Greg Ray.
Well, and a little bit of that is the clean air that you can run in. Everybody behind the leaders got a little more dirty air or turbulence that they got to fight their way through, and and it really affects lap time.
There's Robbie McGee, the rookie, who's doing a fantastic job. Jerry Punch, meanwhile, is with Scott Goodyear.
Scotty, we chronicled your close calls before the show today, but today it wasn't going to be close. What put you out?
You know, I'm not sure what exactly went on. I think something with the engine, but you know, we kept making the car better in pit stops and got right up there, and we're just running the top 5, just sort of waiting for the day to go by and making the car better, like I said, each change. And I'm not sure we had enough for Ari because he's run pretty strong, but you got to get right to 190 laps, obviously, because it changes in the last 10 laps here all the time. So guys in the team did a great job, and we're out.
A huge disappointment for Scott Goodyear, who still sits here in his pit.
Watching Jeff Ward, and Ward is having a good race up in 7th position. We again show you the speeds, and again, more than 3 miles an hour faster, Ari Luyendyk, than anybody else.
Well, we talked to Goodyear. He indicated the engine problem. A lot of the teams have been having connecting rod problems. Rods have been breaking, and it's really got some of these engine builders thinking to themselves. Actually, what Greg Ray has done, Butch Meyer, the engine guy there, has actually saved a few sets of rods from last year's motor. And when they recognized that there was a potential rod problem, they're actually using rods from last year's motors in this year's race.
There's Ari Luyendyk, who is the leader of the race by about 2 seconds over Greg Ray. Then comes Eddie Cheever, who is running in 3rd position as he seeks to become the first back-to-back winner since 1970 and 71 with Al Unser.
Well, again, you can't say too much about the research and development and improvements that the Infinity boys have made on that power plant.
On board with Jeff Ward, here's the 7th place runner right now. Up ahead is Mark Dismore in 6th.
You know, you can see the Yahoo on the side of that thing. The driver says that to himself 3 or 4 times during the race when you get things going.
Sometimes. Ward closing in now on Dismore just a little bit through the short chute.
Well, the former motorcycle racer, you know, he's doubled his tires and he's almost twice as fast.
Eddie Cheever certainly within striking distance of winning this thing again. He is currently about 7 seconds behind in the 3rd position.
You can hear the engine.
He ran the Aurora last year. He switched to the Infinity this year, and of course that could be good for him. It could be bad. Is he optimistic about his chances for victory if he stays competitive the rest of the way?
I'm supremely confident that if my car engine package stays together in that last run, we're going to be very tough to beat. And that confidence comes, it's not arrogance, it's just and there is probably a tinge of arrogance. I believe that my team is better than everybody else's, but it's just knowing how to run it, what the game plan is.
That's Eddie Cheever, and we saw again some close moments down there in turn number 3 as 3 cars went through the corner very, very closely. There is the 52 car of Wim Eichmans. Eichmans in the warm-up lane appears to be headed for pit road. This is up at the north end of the racetrack. One of the rookies here at Indianapolis in 14th position, and that is Eddie Cheever's teammate, the young Belgian go-kart champion that Eddie secured during the winter months to run here at Indianapolis. Car moving very slowly, but it has made pit lane, and so there will be no caution because of his stalled car. Looks like the crew is in no hurry to get the car back out, so obviously it is a much more serious problem. They're going to take the engine cowling off and take a look, but Wim Eichmans right now, who is doing a good job running in the top 15, is on the pit road. Ari Luyendyk continues to be your leader. We'll be back with more coverage of the Indy 500 after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
And that's Ari Luyendyk. Pictures coming to us during the commercial break. We are still keeping an eye on what's happening out there. Obviously the race is over for Ari Luyendyk, and the race will now be under yet another yellow. We're not quite sure how that one happened, and we've only just this second seen that incident, but we are monitoring it for you. As you can see, Arie Luyendyk's car has had a fairly major impact, and he has straddled across the track, directly blocking the flow, but they are getting round him, and more importantly, Arie Luyendyk himself is okay, and as you can see, out of the car and walking to safety. We'll stay with these pictures. We will come back to Ben Collins and what he's doing a little bit later, but we're just staying with these pictures for a moment because Arie Luyendyk, remember, he was on pole for this race, made a terrific start, and he's really been playing a very significant role in the 1999 Indy 500. Sad to see him out. The frustration was there for everyone to see, wasn't it, the way he threw the gloves down, but as I say, thankfully he is okay. I think we can now go back to rejoin our colleagues at ABC.
The Pep Boys Indy Racing League welcomes you back to the 83rd running of the greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500. Arie Luyendyk has crashed and is out of the 500. He is okay. He walked out from the car, but here's what happened to the leader of the race.
Well, again, heavy traffic, Bob. Heavy traffic. And the guy just sort of pinched him off a little bit. Arie really thought the guy probably saw him, but he didn't. That was Tice Carlson. That's Tice Carlson. And again, that's a tough one.
A hard hit for Luyendyk. Here is another replay. He comes up on Carlson. There's no contact between the two cars.
Well, I'm not sure. There was a little speed wobble there right before Arie got sideways. We'll have to look at it another angle. The yellow car is Tice Carlson. Again, it's really hard to tell. Luyendyk backs her in hard. The energy management stuff all works.
Definitely. This is in turn number 3.
And again, I'm not sure if Luyendyk thought that Tice knew he was coming and was going to give him room, but there was no room when he finally got there. Tremendous closing speed. Do they touch tires? It's real hard to say.
I don't think so.
It's awful close, but and Arie's looking at him try to move the wheel. Anytime you put that much steering input, you're in trouble. But he's trying his best to try to catch it, but his day's done.
Well, it's been a great couple of weeks for Arie, but it ends against the wall. Gary?
He appears to be all right. Fred Treadway, the owner of this team. I know you didn't get a chance to see it, but it's got to be such a disappointing way. What's the emotion, Fred?
Oh, it's just the absolute low, I guess. We're excited for Arie. You know, he looked like he had it all together, but Sam Smith looked like it had it all together, so I guess this is just the opposite of 97.
Awful tough way to see a great career come to an end.
Yeah, but we're still awful proud. You know, he ran a tough race, and my guess is he was all by himself, so something probably let loose on the car. But I don't know. I didn't see the accident. We're going to go see Arie right now.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
He led 62 laps today here at the Indianapolis 500 in his final appearance at this great speed spectacle. Arie Luyendyk crashing here at about the 117 lap mark. So now pit stops are going to be happening. Here comes Greg Ray, Jerry.
The pits are open, and Greg Ray's biggest concern right now is not the pit stop, but the radio communications.
Eddie Cheever has decided to change a rear wicker on the back of the car, as well as take on 3 tires. They didn't change 4. It was 10.9 seconds. Now let's get back to Jerry.
Routine pit stop for Greg Ray, but once again as Ray leaves, near contact, and there is contact with Mark Dismore. Wow, right on pit road. Ray was leaving, Dismore coming in, and now both cars sit nosed in at the far end of the cruise. Now begin to scamper down. What a major, major disappointment for both those drivers who were contenders here today. Oh my.
Dismore had made up a lap under green, was doing a great job in the top 10, and then of course Greg Ray, who has led significantly here today. And with Arie Luyendyk out, you had to give the favorite slot to Greg Ray to win this race. But Dismore and Ray collide on pit road.
Well, again, Dismore was in the fast lane. He was pitted farther north in the pits, and so he had a little bit of a head of steam up. And I don't know if Greg moved over on him, but obviously contact's made.
There's Greg Ray walking disgustedly back to his pit. John Menard gives him a hug.
This is Sharp leaving the pits. You can see he's got a head of steam up already. Here comes Greg Ray. Yeah, you can see Greg. Greg pulled out into the fast lane, and Dismore just had no place to go.
Ironically, he came in and slid into his teammate Scott Sharp's box, but it was Mark Dismore. Well, the car doesn't appear to be damaged, so perhaps he can get back in contention after all. But not the same can be said for Greg Ray.
Well, again, it shows you the adrenaline and the emotion that's in this race. Greg pulled out of the pits, and he needs to stay on the inside lane. Now watch him when he comes out, and I think you'll see his right front go across the first white line, which is the fast lane in the pits. He's out. You can see him right there. He's across the white line and right into the side of Dismore.
Got a couple of incidents on pit road today. Jerry Punch.
Greg Ray still has the helmet on, and Greg, they pulled the car back by us. What happened?
Jerry, that's a good question. We had a good car. I was trying to do all the right things on the racetrack. I can't tell you. I don't know how that happened. I was told to go. I went, and
How bad is the car hurt? They pushed it by. Let's see, it's minus the front wings. Can you get it back out?
No, it messed up the suspension, and we need points for the championship, but this race is not about points. It's about winning, and I just want to cry.
You can see the moisture in Greg Ray's eyes as he walks away, leaving the helmet on, maybe to hide some of the disappointment and some of the emotion.
Well, you work all year for this moment to run in the Indy 500. His thoughts now turn to next year, but for this year, a huge disappointment for Greg Ray. Greg Ray has had an incident. This was on pit road. As he came out, Mark Dismore was trying to come in.
You can see Ray just pulls out. He thinks he's clear, but he pulls out into the fast lane. You've got to move your speed up, get the acceleration done before you move into that right-hand lane, and Greg didn't do that. Dismore's out there, had no place to go, and Ray drives into the side of him.
But Mark Dismore has stayed on the lead lap. He did not lose a lap. He did come in a little while ago as we take a look once again at the contact between the two. Now this did damage the suspension on Ray's car, but Dismore apparently is okay. We go down to Jan Beekes.
Bob, we've been talking a lot today about wicker bills, and we've seen a bunch of them changed up and down pit road. Tony Stewart is on his third rear wicker bill. Now, Eddie Cheever just came into the pits. They flipped this up, and this is how you change it. They went to a smaller one, which means it's less downforce, but it runs faster down the straightaway. As a result, they've told him, Eddie, we want you now to use 6th gear because the RPM will be higher, and obviously, with these accidents, they have Eddie exactly where they want him to be. Bob?
He is the leader of the race right now with Kenny Breck second, Jeff Ward third, Billy Boat fourth, and Robbie McGee is in 5th position.
And you heard Jan talk about 6th gear. These guys have got a 6-speed gearbox, and they actually have 3 high gears that are all within about 100 RPM of each other. And so it's very important that they don't get into the rev limiter. If they get in the rev limiter, which limits the RPM in the motors, it's like taking a hammer to the top of the motor. In fact, Ray's guys in a test actually ran on the dyno and simulated running into the rev limiter, and within 100 miles they knocked the headers right off the motor on the dyno.
Well, later this afternoon here on ABC Sports at 3:30 Eastern, Sports Century presented by General Motors looks at sports dynasties, highlights and special interviews of the greatest sports dynasties of the century, including the New York Yankees, winners of 24 World Championships, and the Boston Celtics, who won 9 championships in 10 years. Hosted by Dick Schaap at 3:30 Eastern this afternoon here on ABC Sports. Should be going back to green soon here at Indianapolis, an event-filled race, at least in the last 40 laps or so, with Leyendyke crashing out, Greg Ray eliminated in a pit road incident, and now we turn our attention toward Cheever, Breck, Ward, Bowden, McGee, all in the top 5.
Well, and a lot of the trouble's been in the pits, Bob, and what happens is you got that intense concentration on the racetrack. You get in the pits, and sometimes you let your guard down a little bit. You try to take a little break, but at this place, there's just no time to take a break.
Robbie Buell is now in 6th position. He started in the middle of the last row. One of those who has made a tremendous charge to the front. Robbie McGee, who is positioned ahead of him in 5th, also another one of those who has picked up many positions since the drop of the green flag. On board with Tony Stewart, who is in 7th spot as the pace car begins to pick up the pace and move through corner number 4, coming onto the pit road once again as the restart is about to happen. And the green flag waves. Cheever and Breck first and second. Breck gets a much better jump, and Kenny Breck goes to the front. And look at Ward.
What a move by Kenny Breck. We talked about how he'd been taken advantage of in the last couple restarts, but this guy's a quick study because he figured out what he needed to do and got the job done.
Looks to be a lot of debris on the racetrack, a lot of wrappers that have come off from the grandstands, but Kenny Breck has taken himself back into the lead of this race for A.J. Foyt. There is Cheever, and that is Robbie Gordon, who is also right there. And Gordon has been running up with the leaders most of the race. He did get a lap down earlier. He's back in 9th spot, so he's still trying to make up a lap.
Well, and he's close to making up that lap. Robbie is real close to getting that job done. They keep adjusting on the car, and the car is as fast as the leaders right now.
There is AJ as he hopes to pull out a victory here this afternoon. Has 3 cars in the race.
And look at the debris on the racetrack. I mean, there's some hot dogs consumed during the day here out there.
Cheever continues to run in 2nd spot. Jeff Ward is 3rd. Procession down the backstretch on lap 127. Certainly our stories have changed since the beginning of the race. In fact, just in the last few minutes, Leyendijk's final 500 is over. He crashed. Eddie Cheever currently running 2nd. He was leading a few moments ago. Tony Stewart is 7th. He's still very much a contender. Greg Ray had a crash on pit road. Robbie Gordon is a lap down in 9th. And A.J. Foyt's boys, hey, they're having a great race. 1st, 5th, and 8th. Here is Billy Boat. In the red car, sponsored by Compact.
They've got that Compact. I think that's the only computer that can survive Foyt's antics in the pits.
They did have a fuel mileage problem last year, which AJ took his frustrations out on the computer. But right now, Kenny Breck is showing the way. Last lap at over 212.5 miles an hour, and the 2nd fastest last lap was the 3rd place car of Jeff Ward at 212.2. 2nd place car of Eddie Cheever only at 210 lap.
The balance is just so critical on these. If you get the balance off just a little bit, it means a couple miles an hour on the racetrack.
Breck, the defending Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion.
One car, here's inside Kenny Breck. This is the short chute. Entering turn 2. He's down below the white line, all the way out to the wall and down the back straightaway. You can see him turn his head just an ounce to look in the mirrors. You look at Cheever, it looked like he was trying to grab another gear right there. Again, that might be one of the top 3 gears that they can choose from.
There's 3rd place Jeff Ward. Staying right on that line as he moves through turn 3.
Well, again, he's got traffic ahead. He's got to anticipate what these guys are doing. He doesn't want to run up too tight on them too early in that corner because he can't get a run off the corner that way.
Started 14th, came up to 7th, back to 12th, and now up to 3rd. And Jeff Ward is one of the most consistent race drivers that has competed here in Indianapolis in the last few years. Let's go to Gary Gerald, who's with Ari Leyendijk.
Just coming out of the medical center, I don't know how to put in words what you must be feeling, so you tell us.
Really, I feel stupid right now. I should have known better than race the traffic that hard. The yellow car was on the right-hand side of the track. I thought.
Was that Tice Carlson?
I believe it was, and I didn't know Scott Goodyear went back out again. But I went underneath Tice, and I thought he would give me room, but he came back down on me, and obviously I had to actually slam on the brakes to not hit him as he came down, and when I had to when I touched the brakes, it upset the car and made me spin out. But I've been here so long, I should know better. And my car was so good. My car was just unbelievable today. I could drive anywhere, and I was having so much fun. It was the most fun Indy 500 I've ever had.
Have you ever experienced this kind of emotion from having so much fun in your 15 years here to this kind of disappointment?
No, I have to think back to when Emerson Fittipaldi was leading, you know, clearly on 94, and then he lost it towards the end of the race, and I know what he feels now.
The conditions of the racetrack itself, Ari, they hadn't made a change on your car. Is that correct? It looked like you had a perfect setup.
Well, I made one wing change, and the car after that was just even better. And on my own, I was running at 218, and I was still holding back because I was hitting the rev limiter in 6th gear. I basically ran out of gear. The team never expected me to go this fast, I guess, in these conditions, but the car was just phenomenal. So my hat's off to Tim Wardrop and my team, Fred Treadway. Everybody has just done an unbelievable job, and you know, I just, this is too bad. I can't believe it.
Any second thoughts about retirement?
I don't think so, but I'd like to thank the fans again. I was standing there in turn 3, and everybody was just going crazy over there cheering me on, and it felt good at the moment, but of course right now I don't feel too good. But it's going to be a long summer thinking about how it could have been.
Thanks, Ari.
All right, thank you.
And thanks for all the great memories.
Ari Luyendyk first came to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for rookie orientation back in 1985, in April of that year. His career at Indy has apparently ended with a crash. We'll be back with more from the Indianapolis 500 in a moment. Kenny Breck is the leader. Coming in to get a fresh set of tires, car full of fuel.
They really missed on the setup on the last adjustment.
11.9 second pit stop for Tony Stewart.
They had an understeer. They had the
wicker hanging out. I went when the jack went down.
You hear him talking. Curry says there's one of the wicker bills is hanging out, so they didn't quite get the job done before Tony left the pits.
Wow. Well, here is 4th place Billy Boat, about 9 seconds behind his teammate, the leader of the race, Kenny Breck. Ward has taken 2nd spot from Eddie Cheever, and the rookie Robbie McGee continues to have a great race in 5th position. There is McGee, young man from the St. Louis, Missouri area.
See the wheel shaking, so he's got his hands full a little bit. This kid's doing a tremendous job. Kid actually started racing with his mother, not his father, his mother. And they went to the same driving school together and used to race against each other.
And she continues to be his biggest fan, believe me. And he has become the first 500 starter from the metropolitan St. Louis area since Bob Winty in '64. Is that Cheever?
Bob,
it is.
Cheever.
All of the favorites here are falling out of the race. Another one drops by the wayside. Eddie Cheever, who was running 2nd until just a few laps ago. He had dropped back to 3rd. And now he climbs out of the car, and it's all over. Now, this is the area of the racetrack that they were told to go to if they could, because as you can see, the officials there dragged the car off the track, and there is no caution.
Well, and obviously it's terminal in Eddie's mind, because he would want to get to the pits if he thought there was anything he could do about that situation. So it looks like the Infinity might have some bad breath.
And Robbie Gordon is back on the lead lap. He had gotten off the lead lap a long time ago, but finally now is back on, and he is in 7th position. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's been running with the leaders for almost all the race. Let's go to Jan Beekes. What happened to Eddie Cheever?
Well, Tom, you were right. It was the Infinity power plant that let go for Eddie Cheever. They had the speed they wanted, but today they did not have the reliability.
So we have lost just in the last few laps Ari Luyendyk, Greg Ray, and now Eddie Cheever. That means that Billy Boat moves up to 3rd spot. It's Breck leading, Jeff Ward running 2nd. A.J. Foyt's driver Billy Boat is 3rd, and then McGee. Foyt hoping to pull off a victory here. All 3 drivers running very well in this race. They are 1st, 3rd, and 5th for Supertex, the 4-time winner here at Indianapolis. 141 laps out of 200 completed. Kenny Breck is the leader of the Indianapolis 500 with 146 laps completed, but only by about 1.1 seconds over Jeff Ward. Billy Boat is running in third position, and fourth is the man with whom we ride right now, young Robbie McGee, who is in the fourth position, and knowing that his crew chief, Steve Freed from Mentor, Ohio, has been critically injured here in a pit incident. That came early in the race. He is reported to be in critical but stable condition at Methodist Hospital. Robbie has been told this on the radio, so perhaps, Tom, now he is driving for Steve and hoping to pull out this tremendous race that he has had so far.
Well, if not the emotions of being in your first 500 isn't enough, now he's got that part to deal with, but the kid's doing a tremendous job.
Breck going around some of the slower traffic down the straightaway here in Indianapolis, completing one more lap. Now let's update the stories for you that we talked about originally. Arie Luyendyk is out as a result of a crash. Eddie Cheever has dropped out of competition. Tony Stewart has lost 3 laps as a result of a couple of pit stops, not doing well at all. He's back in 13th. Greg Ray is out. Robbie Gordon has made up his lap. He's currently 7th. And look at the Foyt team. 1st, 3rd, and 5th. AJ having a great day here at Indianapolis. Now, the information that we gave you regarding Steve Freed, Robbie McGee's crew chief, has come from Methodist Hospital, and as soon as we get any update from Methodist, we will pass it along to you. The latest report, again, critical but stable condition. Jan Beekes, what adjustments have they made in his crew?
Well, what they have done, Bob, is they have taken Troy Stevens and put him on the right front. That was the tire that Steve Freed was changing, and then they shifted all their crew members around. They don't have an official crew chief, so to speak, but they are doing a masterful job so far here on pit road.
And a caution is going to come out. That's Roberto Guerrero.
Another Infinity now.
That's going to bring out the caution that would appear, although he has made it to the warm-up lane. Go to Gary Gerald.
And just as you're concerned about that, Robbie Buell makes a scheduled pit stop. We expect that Jeff Ward will be in the next 3 or 4 laps, depending on whether or not they have to go yellow down off the track. Buell explodes away. It was right around 15 seconds flat.
Still no caution. The green remains out here at Indianapolis as Guerrero was able to get his disabled car down to the warm-up lane.
Well, that's a break for Breck, obviously. That could have spoiled his day.
Now Breck working through some slower traffic. We're on board with Jeff Ward, who isn't that far behind Kenny. He's the second car ahead. Oh, looks like Ward had the idea of going to the outside through the corner, and Breck is going to be pitting. Kenny Breck comes off of corner number 4 and heads toward the pits as Jeff Ward now takes over the lead of the Indy 500. Here is Breck keeping the car below 80 miles an hour. That's the speed limit. Down to Jerry Punch.
Here we go, Kenny.
Kenny Breck at 80 miles an hour. They reminded him of the pit speed, very deliberately coming in. They had made an adjustment back to the front wing, taking it back to where it was a moment ago in the previous pit stop. No wing adjustment here. Right front, right rear tire, left side tires on. Getting it completely full of fuel. 13 seconds he's away.
Watch your speed, watch your speed. It's automatic, Tommy.
Robbie McGee has just got his pit stop, 16.6 seconds, no changes on the car.
We have yet to see Jeff Ward, however, make his pit stop here with a little less than 50 laps to go. He stays out there, and Jeff Ward has become our 6th different leader. We've had 14 lead changes. Mark Dismore has completed his stop. He was in the top 5 when he came in. Once you reach this point on the racetrack, you can, of course, begin to accelerate, but you cannot re-enter the racetrack until you come out of turn number 2.
You heard on the radio the crew encouraging him to get up to speed as quick as he could because the track is green.
Jeff Ward now relinquishes the lead and comes in for his stop. Coming slowly down pit road, the crew awaiting him. He's pitted just past the control tower here in Indianapolis. He reaches the pit box, and the crew goes to work on Jeff Ward.
You heard them talk about the air boxes, the radiators. They want to make sure there's no debris inside the air boxes or the entrance to the radiators.
Ward driving the Pagan Racing Team car here this weekend. And here comes Kenny Breck down the straightaway as he now will pick up the lead once again as a result of the pit stops here. So Breck back in the lead at the Indianapolis 500 with 153 laps completed. We'll return after these messages. To the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500. We're running 158th lap now with Kenny Breck in the lead. Jeff Ward less than a second behind. Billy Boat is third, so Foyt's drivers are first and third, and the third member of Boat's AJ Foyt's team is in sixth position.
Well, we just heard AJ on the radio to Kenny and telling him to pick it up a little bit because Ward's coming. Now, this is not what a driver wants to hear. You're so close to the edge, the ragged edge on each corner. You get somebody asking you to pick it up just a little bit more, that's a tough one to hear.
We have had several crashes, no injuries on the racetrack, but we did have an injury in the pit area. An update from Jan Beekes.
Well, Bob, I have some great news for you. And Linda Conti of the Energizer crew just told the whole crew to a resounding cheer that Steve Freed is okay. He's awake and he is alert. And she gave everyone on the crew a thumbs up, and then she gave the crowd the thumbs up. And behind us here, they all went crazy. There's been a huge mood swing here for Robbie McGee. Now they know their crew chief is going to be. He is awake and he's alert. Now they want to get Robbie up to the front of this race.
Steve was hit on pit road in an early incident, and he has been taken to Methodist Hospital, but that's the good update from Jan Beekes. First and second, Kenny Breck and Jeff Ward separated by only about 2 seconds. There's Ward. Candace Ward, Jeff's wife, is so excited that she can't even watch these final few laps. Her husband is close to leading the race, and of course close to a possible victory. And of course the other guy who has a profound interest in what's going on here is AJ Foyt, and again his drivers are doing just magnificently here this afternoon. First, third, and sixth. Breck is first, Boat third, and Robbie Buell has come from the back row to run in sixth position.
I doubt if we'll see Foyt's head underneath the scoring stand unless he's tearing something up or punching somebody.
Jeff Ward has led 3 laps of this race, but currently runs in second position.
One of the stories here, Bob, that we've got to watch, we haven't seen him in the last few laps, that Robbie Gordon is actually the fastest car on the racetrack right at this moment.
Well, we documented the fact that he did indeed make up his lap, and he is currently shown in the 7th position, about 16 seconds behind the leader. Jeff Ward here in Indianapolis in 1997. He was the Rookie of the Year, finishing third. He finished 13th last year. The caution is out. We understand that the number 30 car, driven by Jimmy Kite, has stopped on the racetrack. It's our 7th caution of the day here in the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500.
Al Michaels back in Indianapolis, still under yellow. The leader is Kenny Breck with 38 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. It is always a war of attrition in Indianapolis, and it began on lap 63. Sam Schmidt was very much in contention when he lost control, spun to the outside, hit the outside wall, and his day was done. Hands tell the story here. One picture is worth 1,000 words. The hands of Scott Goodyear telling you his day was done on lap 102. And then there was Arie Luyendyk on lap 118 with the lead. Arie Luyendyk tried to pinch inside Tice Carlson, tried to get inside of him and couldn't. His day and career over. Greg Ray on lap 120. It was Greg Ray coming out of the pits. Greg Ray swinging to the outside. The collision with Mark Dismore, and there went that leader. And then Eddie Cheever will not be the 1999 champion. He will not be able to defend his crown because his engine gave out a few laps ago. As we go back to Bob Jenkins and Tom Snevel.
Just about ready to go back to racing here at Indianapolis. The field at the end of the backstretch heading through the north end of the racetrack. They will come down, complete lap number 164, and get the green flag with Kenny Breck in the lead, Jeff Ward second, followed by Billy Boat, Mark Dismore, Robbie McGee, Robbie Buell, and Robbie Gordon. They will go one more lap before getting the green flag.
Well, Bob, the key here is 37 to go. Can some of these cars make it to the end without having to fuel again? I'm not sure.
It would be almost impossible unless we had an extended caution. We'll see what happens, though. Well, coming up next, after our presentation of live coverage of the Indy 500 Sports Century presented by General Motors Sports Dynasties, as we look at the highlights and special interviews involving the greatest sports dynasties of the past century, including the Yankees, winners of 24 World Championships, and the Boston Celtics, who won 9 championships in 10 years. That's at 3:30 Eastern here on ABC. Robbie Gordon has come in for the stop. He was in 6th position, but of course he's not going to lose very much because there are only 7 cars on the lead lap.
Well, again, the key is this is real late in the yellow, so could they be trying to stretch it to the end of the race with that stop?
Jerry Punch, what's Kenny Breck's situation?
Well, he could actually go probably to lap 179 or 180, but remember a year ago, Kenny Breck was leading coming off turn 2, and the computer told AJ they could make it 3 more laps, and the engine coughed and sputtered and quit. AJ's not taking any chances. Look for Breck, maybe 176 or 177, at least a couple laps early, which should be his final stop.
Breck getting set for the restart. The pace car pulls ahead, begins to accelerate. He must not pass the pace car until the pace car gets into pit lane, and so it's often a matter of timing. We understand that Eddie Cheever, who is, of course, was the defending champion of this race, he is out of the race, and he has left the gasoline alley area, and we are unable to talk with him.
So does that mean both him and Elvis have left the building?
Left the building, I think so. All right, here we go. Look at Jeff Ward. He tries to pull off a move and time it just right. The green is out. Pit lane becomes occupied by the pace car, and here we go.
Look at Buddy Lazier trying to get a lap back. Buddy has made adjustments to that car, has gotten by Breck on the restart.
And Bode and Dismore are running close together. All 4, the top 4 cars right together on the racetrack. Off of corner number 2, they come down the backstretch. It's Breck, followed by Ward. Billy Boat, the red car, is 3rd, and then Mark Dismore is right there in 4th spot.
Again, we're having a lot of fun watching these restarts, but that time the leaders were closer to the front of the pack. We've had a lot of restarts where the leaders have actually been back in the pack, and it causes some great anxiety among these drivers.
Buddy Lazier has gotten 1 lap back. We believe, however, he still remains 1 lap down. Breck beginning to separate himself from Jeff Ward just a little bit, building the interval up to 1.2 seconds. There is Breck. Lazier is the car right ahead of Breck, but again, he's gotten 1 lap back and needs another one.
The question is, Buddy got him on the restart, but once they get into clean air, is Kenny a little bit faster? And will Lazier hold him up a little bit to give Ward a chance to get the distance closed down?
Breck continues to add up the total of laps led here this afternoon. Arie Luyendyk still remains the driver who has led the most laps in this year's Indianapolis 500. He led 63 before he crashed, putting himself out of the race. Now Breck has led 61 and is still up front. There you go, with Cheever leading 4, Greg Ray 31. Jeff Ward has led only 3. But he doesn't care about leading until the checkered flag drops.
The other side of this is Lazier might actually be helping Breck at this time. 2 cars can run faster together, and I'm not sure if Jeff's got that draft or not in the 3rd spot.
22 laps to go in the 500 for 1999. Let's take a look at the speeds. Well, Buddy Lazier just a little bit faster than the leader of the race, Kenny Breck, and Jeff Ward. Oh,
we got trouble. Look at the wheel coming across the racetrack.
And there is the car from which, and it's marked as.
Well, that's the right front. Remember, Dismore was involved in a crash in the pits, Bob, and that could have done some damage to the right front suspension when in the pits. That resulted in the tire leaving the race car a little bit later.
Very good point. Caution is out once again here in Indianapolis. This is the 8th time. All of the incidents we have seen so far, the tires and wheels have stayed on the car at impact, but this one has come off the right front. So Mark Dismore had a good run going, was in the top 10, has had a rough afternoon. He got down a lap early in the race, got it back, then had an incident on pit road, was still looking good, and now here on the 169th lap, his race is over. The pace car has picked up the field now. Dismore has gotten out of the car, so he is okay. Did scatter some debris out of turn number 2. And we'll take a look at the incident once again.
Well, this is the in-car camera. This is Dismore's car. He's going through turn 2. He gets out of the groove a little bit. Oh, yeah, the car just pushes up, and he smacks the wall with the right front. Definitely broke off. I mean, there was no damage until he hit the wall, and then we had tremendous damage. And again, that's just an understeer situation. He was trying a little bit too hard, and again, they're so close to the edge. Small mistakes are magnified at 200 miles an hour.
Now with 30 laps to go, pit stops again being made. Those on the lead lap able to come in. There are 6 of them. Kenny Breck leads them down. Then Jeff Ward, then Boat. Jan Beekes is with Robbie McGee.
And of course, there's going to be no tires. I think a lot of people will try this strategy.
No changes for Jeff Ward, Jan. They clean the radiators, complete the fueling. Jerry?
Both Billy Boat and Kenny Breck were in a half a turn up on the wing on Breck. But a great pit stop for the Breck crew once again for A.J. Foyt's team.
Billy Boat, he got out in front of Jeff Ward, so Boat had a tremendous pit stop.
We'll be back with more of our live coverage in just a moment of the Indianapolis 500 after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. The greatest spectacle in racing, the Indianapolis 500. And we're under caution here, 172 laps about to be completed. Right now, Robbie Gordon is shown as the leader. Let's get a report from the pit area, first by going to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, Kenny Breck came in and they made an adjustment on the front ring to try to loosen the car up. Kenny said, if you free it up, I can hang on. I know it'll be a handful, but I can hang on. Now, as far as fuel mileage are concerned, behind me, Tommy LeMance and the crew are recalculating it. They've got to run 30 laps. Their calculations say they can run comfortably 29 and a half. So it's hold your breath time for the checkered flag. Let's check in with Jan.
Well, for Robbie McGee, they say that yes, they can make it to the end, and they're excited about the fact that they have to save a little fuel. The reason is that they felt early in the race they could go farther on their fuel than anybody else out there on the racetrack. So they're hoping everyone else will turn the fuel down and slow down, and Robbie McGee will go towards the front. Gary?
Jeff Ward running that steady pace. Mitch Davis says the car has been superb. There were no changes. Air pressure, wing on the last stop. They're saving 5th gear. When they run in 5th gear, the oil temperature goes up a little bit. They're waiting for the final 15 laps, and then it's going to be turn it loose time in 5th gear for Jeff Ward. We got a shootout on our hands, guys. They can all go the distance.
Last driver to win the Indianapolis 500 from the 4th starting position, where Robbie Gordon started today, Bobby Rahal, back in 1986. Looks like we're going to go at least one more lap before we go green. We're under caution because of Mark Dismore's crash coming out of turn number 2, hit the wall, and he is okay, but another car has been eliminated. Kenny Breck has now led the most laps here at Indy in the 1999 edition.
Well, how about the story with Robbie Gordon, though? He comes here with a different car. He can't get it up to speed, so he has the luxury of getting into Greg Ray's backup car. Greg did most of the work with this car to get it set up. Now, this doesn't usually happen to drivers, but Robbie's got to be smiling to himself right now.
ABC Sports, of course, is interested in bringing you the finest coverage that we can possibly provide, and you will see the rest of the race without commercial interruption.
How about the debris on the nose of that race car, Bob? It shouldn't be a problem, but if it gets loose and gets into the radiator entrance, then it could become a factor.
This car that Robbie Gordon is driving is a 1998 chassis and was one that Robbie Buell had at his disposal last year, but did not race. Certainly he has a good race car here today, Gary.
Every one of these extra laps of yellow is huge for Robbie Gordon. 27 laps to go. They say if we go green the rest of the way, it's going to be very nervous. They'll be very close. With a lap of yellow or so, they think they are good. So they're hanging out with big smiles and a lot of anticipation down here. Remember, he pitted just ahead of the yellow, the opportunity for Breck, Boat, and Ward to get in along with McGee.
And Gary, one of the reasons why they do that is for every lap under yellow, you get 3 under green.
Robbie Gordon finished last in the race yesterday near St. Louis. He crashed, as a matter of fact, and bruised his right calf. And there was some concern about whether or not he would be 100% physically to compete in this race. He's answered that question. He could go from last yesterday to first today.
Champ to chump. We've seen it before. But fuel mileage is the key. These things get about 2 miles to the gallon. If you're good, you're getting 2.1. If you're bad, you're getting 1.9. Now, that doesn't sound a lot to the guys at home because these things make power, and power takes fuel.
26 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. Pace car is off the racetrack. The green flies, and we are back to competition.
Boy, somebody got a real slow start and caused them to really scramble coming off of turn 4, back in the pack.
That was Billy Boat going to the extreme inside. Meanwhile, Jeff Ward, they're in second position, but he's got a long way to go to catch up to Robbie Gordon. There's Breck, there's Boat, and there is McGee. Those are your top 5. Robbie Buell, the other car on the lead lap, in 6th position.
Well, he doesn't have far to go. At 200 miles an hour, it might look like a little bit of distance, but it doesn't take long to get there.
A.J. Foyt having a great day as a car owner. He, of course, owned his car when he himself won, but he has never been an actual car owner and experienced a victory here at Indianapolis, and he could do it today because his drivers are 3rd, 4th, and 6th.
Here he comes, Jeff Ward. Blasting by.
That's Tice Carlson that he went around. Tice is shown in 16th position. Now he sets his sights on the leader of the race, Robbie Gordon. Jeff Ward does. There's Ward down the backstretch. Then back to the 3rd place, Kenny Breck, and he is hotly pursued by his teammate, Billy Boat. Both of them are caught up behind Tice Carlson. Now they'll make the move off the corner, we would assume.
Well, Kenny's got a little run on Tice, but Tice has obviously made that car better because he's running a little bit quicker. But, whoa, underneath. That time, Tice saw him. But look at the run Billy got in.
Well, I would assume that Kenny tried to time it so that he can make the pass as late as possible and put that car between himself and Boat to kind of break his momentum.
Well, I don't know if you want to wait that late into the corner because, again, like what happened with Lyondike, you're not sure the guy knows you're coming. I don't know if you heard in the background, but you can hear that stutter step out of some of the motors. That's guys running into that rev limiter, and that's not good for the motors.
Billy Boat, a veteran of the short track open wheel series around the country.
Billy's in the red car. We got a smoker coming into the pits.
Smoker coming down to the pits, and again, this is good news in that he has made it to pit road. That's Jarrett Schrader, another rookie here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Well, and been doing a great job. Also in the top 10, 2 rookies up there, and Jarrett's been doing an awesome job also, but it looks like his day's done.
Driving for Price Cobb Racing. Jarrett Schrader from Queens, New York, now living in Vineland, New Jersey. Meanwhile, back on the racetrack, it is Jeff Ward pursuing Robbie Gordon, and the interval is just a little more than 3 seconds between first and second. Here are the speeds from the last lap. Buddy Lazier, who has unlapped himself, is the quickest. Robbie Gordon is about a mile an hour, not quite a mile an hour faster than Ward, and a couple of miles an hour faster than Breck.
But again, some of that can be traffic. So.
Distance between second and third closes in as Breck gets a good run down the straightaway. On board with Kenny.
What happens oftentimes, your car might have one condition when it's full of fuel. You might not be as quick as some of the competitors on full tanks, but as the fuel runs out of these cars, some cars will slow up a little bit, and actually some will get faster.
Coming up to lap 180. 20 laps from the end of the 83rd running of the Indy 500. Gordon completes lap 180. 20 to go. And 23 times the leader at lap 180 has failed to win the Indy 500, and it's happened 6 times in the last 7 years. The question right now is, does Robbie Gordon have the fuel to go the distance, Gary?
This is interesting down here, Bob, as the suspension build, the suspense builds. Ken Anderson is on the scoring stand. He turns back to the computer guys. He says, give me a thumb up or a thumbs down. The computer guys gave him a thumb just like that. It's too close to call.
Wow. Well, we'll see what happens in the next 20 laps. Can Gordon stay in front? Does he have enough fuel to finish the race? Or will it be Kenny Breck or Jeff Ward or Billy Boat? Jan Vikas, what's the update on Jeff Ward?
Well, he is in the same situation as some of the other leaders. He will not have to come on pit road. They're confident they have enough fuel.
Robbie Gordon last pitted on lap 164, but remember, a lot of the laps were run under caution. What do you think, Tom Sneva?
I don't know. Gary showed us the thumb. I hope it's not another finger that Gordon gives somebody towards the end of this race. Let's hope that he's got the fuel to go.
18 laps to go in the 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Many of the major contenders have been taken out. Arie Luyendyk in his final run has crashed out. Eddie Cheever is out with engine problems. Greg Ray was out in a pit crash. The situation now is Robbie Gordon has the lead, but he may be critically close to running out of fuel before the race is over. Right behind him, Jeff Ward about 4 seconds behind. Kenny Breck is third. Billy Boat fourth. Robbie Buell fifth. A.J. Foyt's drivers are running third, fourth, and fifth at the moment.
Again, we're looking at Robbie's car, trying to take advantage of the draft, trying to get a little bit of a tow. Now, these drivers actually have the ability to control the fuel consumption somewhat from the cockpit of the car. There's actually 7 different settings that the driver can move between, both affecting the amount of fuel and the amount of timing or spark advance they have in these cars.
And Tom, they have just told Jeff Ward that he can use as much of that fuel as he wants. He said, run as hard as you want. It's not a problem. Use any one of those positions. It goes the fastest.
Well, as you know, Jan, as they tone down the fuel, the speed comes down. You don't make power when you lean it out to try to get mileage. So Ward's good to go. Let's see about Robbie.
Gordon ran 32 laps earlier in the race under green. He has to run 36 now to carry him to the checkered flag at Indianapolis. This is Robbie's 5th start in the Indianapolis 500. His first run here was in 1993. He finished 27th. Jerry Punch has information on pit road. Jerry?
Regarding Kenny Breck's situation, Tom Sneva hit the nail on the head a moment ago. They have told Kenny Breck to move the mixture button to position number 5, trying to lean that engine out. That's why he probably is not getting the horsepower right now he would like to get. They are still concerned it may be within a half a lap on their fuel calculation. Now, with 5 to 7 laps to go, he'll pull it back to a richer mixture. The horsepower will come, and he'll make a run.
Watching Buddy Lazier, who is not on the lead lap. And here is the last lap since pit stop, and you can see there that Robbie Gordon has run a lot more laps than Ward and Breck, and he is getting dangerously close to when he needs to come in for fuel.
Well, we were sort of hoping sailboat fuel wouldn't be a factor in this race, Bob, but it's coming down here.
Guys, we just get word on Robbie Gordon. They told us a few minutes ago that he was free to use 5th gear. He's back to 6th. That means, to me, he's trying to save a few RPMs. You save RPMs, you save fuel.
We're actually hearing on the radio, Bob, that the crew is telling him you got plenty of fuel. No problem. But a lot of times late in the race, the crew will not tell you the complete truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Exactly. Watching Robbie McGee there to the left of your screen, on board with Lazier looking ahead to Robbie McGee. Such an outstanding performance by this 25-year-old driver who is currently in 6th position. The Energizer Bunny has carried him well in the Indy 500, and now a battle for 2nd. Kenny Breck takes 2nd from Jeff Ward.
A pretty good pass. Kenny's got it going. Oh, he got trapped in traffic a little bit there. Davey Hamilton right in front of him. Kenny had a good run going. He had to roll out a little bit. That hurt him a little bit. You can see Lazier's got a run back on him on the back straightaway.
Jeff Ward also being able to get around Davey Hamilton, but now Ward finds himself in 3rd spot as Kenny Breck has assumed the 2nd position.
That was Foyt you were listening to, talking to Breck. Fuel position 7, so they're all hunting for the magic tuning point.
And Tom, in case you're wondering what number and what letter means what, they determine that just before the race. So a number 7 for one team is completely different than another. The reason they do that is if someone listens to their radio, they do not know what fuel setting they're actually running.
And what AJ is telling Kenny Breck is just before that pass, we will go 1 notch richer to get a little more horsepower. And as soon as he made that click, that's when Breck made the pass for 2nd position. Bob?
Robbie Gordon is certainly not turning down the speed, and he is up to 211 miles an hour and considerably faster than everybody else on the racetrack. Robbie Gordon is going for it.
Well, all these other guys are pushing it right to the limit also, Bob, but Robbie's done a tremendous job. Lap down early, fought, grinded, got it back.
Now Kenny Breck has turned up the wick a bit, and he becomes the fastest that last lap. Robbie Gordon is at the north end of the racetrack now into turn number 4, and when he comes down, he will complete lap number 190, and there will be 10 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. And the leader at lap 190 has failed to win the Indy 500 in 3 of the last 4 years.
Again, we talked about the fuel load. These cars handle different as the load of fuel goes down. Kenny Breck obviously is happy with his car at this point.
Jeff Ward, who is currently running in 3rd. You heard the radio transmission. Robbie is being told that they are okay on fuel. The pursuer, Kenny Breck, from Carlstead, Sweden, the defending Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion. He's reduced the interval from 5 seconds down to 3.8. Last lap was 3.7 seconds behind Gordon.
If we get to listen to that in-car camera again, we can hear how much he's having to roll out of the throttle in the corners. It'll give us an indication of how well he likes the chassis balance at this point.
Robbie Gordon, a former winner of the 24 Hours of Daytona in '90. He won the 12 Hours of Sebring in '90 with Lynn St. James and Calvin Fish, and won the 24 Hours of Daytona again in 1991.
Shortened lap 193, 7 to go. 3.9. 3.9.
You heard the 3.9. The last lap it was 3.8.
Interval between first and second. Best finish here was third.
Again, you see Robbie just tucked right in behind Lazier and stayed there as long as he could. He didn't pull out of the draft until the very last second to try to get him as much tow as he could.
Breck's best finish here at Indianapolis was sixth.
Your fuel is okay. We're okay. Don't worry about it. Drive, drive.
Wouldn't they just be telling him that, though, to get the worry off his mind?
Well, Robbie's asking about it, so obviously he doesn't believe what they're telling him.
6 laps to go.
5 to go. You're doing just great. Keep it up.
This is Robbie's. He's just about ready to catch a bunch of traffic, so...
That could always play a factor.
Well, we know it does. Again, a lot of it's the key is when you catch the traffic, where you run up to it on the racetrack. Now this is good. He should be able to get this car down the straightaway.
That's Robbie Unser.
He's got a little gap. That'll get him through turns 1. Oh, but we got slower traffic right in front.
Big traffic ahead.
This is going to hold him up, Bob. This is really taking some momentum out of it.
Able to move through it successfully so far. But it has allowed Kenny Breck to close in just a little.
Get interesting. Right in front of Robbie is McGee, Bob. And McGee has been fast all day, but it's a rookie.
Still going to pull a great finish off here, though. He's in 6th position now. Gordon to the inside of him.
Wow. Now that was brave on Robbie's part. Robbie, you have that middle book of drivers, but with rookies, you're missing some chapters in that book.
3 laps to go.
1 point. Car 55. Just behind.
Breck is closing in. The interval is down to less than 1.5 seconds.
I think some of that has been the trouble that Robbie's experienced in traffic.
Here's the interval between the two. Breck clearing the slower car there.
Going again, baby.
Kenny Breck's closing the gap, Bob. I'm not sure if they might be running low on fuel.
5 miles to go. 2 laps.
He might have lost the pickup in the last corner. I think Robbie is real nervous right now.
We heard him say, I think we're going to run out of fuel. is about to come out at Indianapolis. He's out of fuel. He's out of fuel.
Wow.
Robbie Gordon is out of fuel as Kenny Breck comes down to take the white flag. One more lap to go in the Indy 500. Incredible heartbreak for Robbie Gordon, out of fuel. And now A.J. Foyt's pit.
Bob, it's the biggest race in the world. You've got to go, you got to gamble. They did, and they lost.
Half a lap to go for Breck.
Keep coming, Kenny, keep coming. You only got the white checker this time. Come on, come on.
Here he is. Kenny Breck wins the 1999 83rd running of the Indianapolis 500.
Good job, Kenny, baby. Good job. Good job. Way to go, baby! Victory.
Down to Jerry Punch.
A.J. Foyt climbing on the wall and talking to some of these people here on pit road. And A.J.
True. Kenny deserves it. We start off bad. It's wonderful.
We'll talk to him when we come back. A.J. Foyt and his driver Kenny Breck have won the Indianapolis 500.
Victory lane at Indianapolis as the garland of flowers comes over the still helmeted Kenny Breck. A.J. Foyt has just arrived to offer his congratulations. The crew is down here absolutely pummeling this young man. As he pulls the helmet off, let's get a quick word with A.J. Foyt. A.J., welcome to Victory Lane again. What's it feel like?
Oh, I've always wanted to come here 5 times, even if I got to come here 5 more with a car owner. Who cares? I'm here in Victory Circle again, and I'm so wonderful. All my drivers drove a great race today, and you know they all can't win, but they drove a hell of a good race. Robbie Buell, Billy Boat, and Kenny, and all I was worried about, I did not see how they could make it on fuel because I kept saying, oh man.
The wily veteran knew. Let's find out if the young driver, the man who had won the championship for the Indy Racing League, how concerned were you as to whether or not you could run Robbie Gordon out of fuel, Kenny?
Well, I didn't know what kind of tank you got in there, but I didn't think he could do more than 30 laps in one tank, so I was quite convinced he had to pit for fuel.
What does it mean as he takes the sip of milk, the tradition? What does it mean to become a new motor sports hero by winning the Indy 500?
I don't know what it means yet, but I've been practicing drinking milk all week, so maybe that was what did it. I don't know. I got to thank the A.J. Foyt Power Team for giving me fantastic car, Goodyear tires, came through in the end, Oldsmobile Power, AJ, and at home in Houston, Holmes, that helped put this car together. He couldn't be here, but thanks a lot to all of you people.
What a way to ring down a century of open wheel racing at Indianapolis. Congratulations, Kenny Breck, Indy 500 champion.
Thank you. I also want to thank Anita, my fiance.
And the fiance steps in.
For putting up with me.
For putting up with him. I think all is forgiven. Let's go back upstairs.
Kenny Breck is the 59th different winner of the Indianapolis 500. Now we go to Jan Beekes.
Well, Jeff Ward comes home in second spot, and Jeff, I know that when you're out there running with Kenny Breck, you just couldn't hold him off. Where did he have more speed?
Well, I think when he was behind me, I could hold him off, but the Yahoo car was working great, and just a lapper got in the way there. I had to lift real hard, and he just got a run on me. There's nothing I could do, and same way I got kind of by him on the restart when I got Bode and Brack on the restart, but I think we had the car to win if we were out front, but once we were behind and hit some lappers, they weren't making it easy on me. I just almost lost it in 4 one time, but the Goodyear tires worked great. Everything was, you know, I think I'm in the points lead for the IRL, so I got to be happy there, but second is tough here, but we'll go on to the next one.
Well, runner-up, but points leader in IRL, Jeff Ward, great run today. Let's get to Jerry Punch.
Robbie Gordon getting a big hug from John Menard. Robbie, so close, but yet so far. Did you think you could make it?
Well, we showed if we would have got 2 miles to the gallon, we would have made it. We would have made it by about 2 gallons. The thing's still showing I had 2 gallons left in it when it ran out, and that's all I needed was 1 more lap.
the lap before you ran out. We saw you abruptly slow in the corner. Were you losing some pickup there, some fuel?
No, there was a car in front of me. I caught some traffic, and I was just being careful with them. You know, they said I had a 3.8 second lead, and I was just trying to be smart about it and not throw it away. And then all of a sudden I looked to the right, and the fuel thing dropped, and I said, ah, shit, this one's going to slip away again. You know, we should have won this race in 95. I pitted with 10 laps to go, thinking I had a flat tire. Then Goodyear decides to jump the restart, and you know that race would have fell right in my lap. But this one we worked hard at. We fell a lap down. You know, John made some great calling the race, and we got back on the lead lap. Had a really, really good race car. You know, we watched what Rick Mears has done in the past and just worked on the car. We talked to John about it. We studied this race. We knew what it was going to take to win the race. Just slipped away.
Robbie Gordon close again. Now he just gets hungrier. Bob?
Hard to control emotions and words when you're that close to winning the greatest spectacle in racing, and it all slips away. Much more to come. Kenny Breck wins at Indianapolis.
Yes, it's well done to Kenny Breck. You have to feel sorry, though, don't you, for Robbie Gordon, speaking there, obviously, from the heart. Ben Collins, just a word of tribute to our winner. It was a terrific win, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. He pushed, you could see how hard he was pushing towards the end. He wasn't sure whether Gordon had the fuel or not, so he put the pedal to the metal, really went for it. And but I mean, he was good throughout the race. He was good in traffic and just held it together.
And you have to feel sorry, don't you, for Robbie Gordon, Chris?
You do.
I mean, all right, they got it wrong, but I mean, what a great finish it was, so nearly for him.
Yeah, and don't forget that yesterday evening he was racing in a different series and hurt his ankle in an accident. You know, I mean, it's extraordinary weekend for him, and just so near but yet so far. But it just never really looked on the mileage.
Right, let's just then confirm the finish, the final placings. Here we go. This is the way the Indy 500 finished in 1999. Terrific win for Kenny Breck. Jeff Ward, the motocross man, we discussed him at the top of the show. He had a marvellous race too. Billy Boat didn't do too badly either, and as I say, Robbie Gordon, you've got to feel sorry for him. And tribute too to our rookie driver, Robbie McGee, Chris.
Yeah, very impressive. That fifth in his first big IRL race, and it's the Indy 500. What a great performance. But AJ was saying what Boole and Boat did a great job along with Kenny Breck, and look, there are all three of them there in the top six.
Well,
a hell of a performance.
AJ, you've got to say, it was a pretty good day for him, wasn't it?
It was a very good day for him indeed, and nice to see the Unser family back there in the top 10 again as well at Indianapolis.
OK, final thought from you then, Ben, on the way the race has gone this year. It really was another terrific occasion, wasn't it?
That was amazing. I've never seen anything like it, particularly an IRL race. There's a lot of casualties in it, a lot of shunting, but certainly lots of action and some brilliant overtaking manoeuvres.
Yeah, when you look at some of the big names that were there, there's always great stories to be told in this race, and this was no exception, was it?
Yeah, it's strange to see the most experienced and sort of streetwise guys crashing out like that. And the story of Kenny coming through and winning, it's just brilliant.
Yeah, and Chris, as I've said, Arie Luyendyk, Eddie Cheever, there are stories everywhere you look in this race, and there's a good story with our winner, our first ever, I think, Swedish winner of the Indy 500. Yeah,
absolutely, the first North European winner, I should think.
Yeah,
I mean, no, really tremendously impressive. But drama, action, excitement all the way through, as Ben was saying. You've never seen so much incident, and the older, experienced men making mistakes. As we always say, oval racing is exciting. A lot happens, and who would have guessed that would have been the final outcome?
Quite apart from the boost to his bank balance, what difference will now be in Kenny Breck as a driver?
Just confidence. He's already the champion from last year, and the IRL champion.
Sure.
And now, he's got a huge wad of dollars in his bank account. That Arie Luyendyk had still led the most laps through the whole race itself, so it won't be quite as much as it might have been. But just a great performance, and for him to go on to the rest of the season knowing that he's put that sort of experience behind him is going to really give him a huge boost.
And your final thoughts on the race? I mean, you mentioned earlier that a few years back maybe some of the magic was drifting away, but it looks like the place has got it back and the race is as good as ever.
It's right back, isn't it? It's right back. Thank heavens it was safe-ish, and it was incredibly competitive. Huge crowd, loved it.
OK, well, that's just about it for this mammoth motorsport package today. But there's more, another big weekend of US motorsport coming up in a couple of weeks' time. We'll be bringing you the next round of the Indy Racing League. That's the Longhorn 500 from the Texas Motor Speedway. And then there's more motorsports tomorrow on Sky Sports 2 at 11 o'clock. Our regular programme, World Motorsport, featuring the latest round of Japan's Formula Nippon. That's a feature also on last week's Vintage Sports Club meeting. With exclusive action involving John Surtees, plus the latest rounds of the Mintex and the Scottish rallies. In the meantime, it's a big thank you to our colleagues at ABC, everyone, of course, at the motocross at Swindon, obviously to my 2 studio guests, and most of all to you. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.